Sat in a room freezing. Yeah. Hello everybody, we're back. You can get in touch with the latest 4020 live on Twitter, at 4020 live on Twitter. Get in touch with the Facebook page as well, and you can get in touch with the comments on YouTube. Congratulations to the Bradford Bulls, won their first ever Yorkshire Cup.
No, they've won the 12th Yorkshire Cup apparently.
No, they've won their first ever Yorkshire Cup. Well done to them. Big crowd at Batley, well done to Batley Sound. I've had a lot of friends said it was an absolutely belting old school rugby league game. They were getting stuck in, they were giving it to each other, and it was a belting game apparently. Everyone that went to watch enjoyed it, so that's
because
good.
there was something at stake. So I don't think we've ever been against the principle of making things more, giving them more meaning, getting more people to go. I think it's what you call it.
It is, and we've got to start off. We have to start off with a well done to Ralph Rimmer and the RFL for a wonderful deal on, or what looks a wonderful deal on the Challenge Cup. New sponsor, Coral sponsoring that. So well done to them. A 7-figure deal. Amazing. The RFL have actually put a value on something. Even if the decimal point might be in the wrong place. I don't think it is, but it might be. But well done to them. 7-figure deal incorporates as well the women's final that's going to be played on the same day as the men's semi-final, which I think is better than having it in some rubbish ground that looks like they're playing in the middle of a sports centre in the middle of nowhere. So well done to the RFL.
That's a professional ground with 400 people in it to give the girls an experience.
Well done for all those that say I'm moan. And today people have been saying I'm too pally with the RFL now. I can't win.
I think there's two things that we've learnt about this. One is the women's game, I think, is what appeals to a broadcaster and to a sponsor. So if you can tie the two in together, you've got more chance of actually bringing someone on board. And the other thing is, we got a note saying, please put your £5.50 back in the pocket. It's not
we've been outbid then.
The 4020 Live Cup, I'm afraid. It is now the Coral Challenge Cup.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Scoy is here. Scoy, you'll be delighted. The greatest cup competition of all now has someone that wants to love it.
Absolutely. And I say, why not? But I guess the only question has been, why is it taking so long? But anyway, we've got there in the end, and plenty of money involved from there. So everybody will be very happy. Delighted that the Batley and Bradford got a great crowd from there. And as I've mentioned many times, now I've mentioned for the last few years, the Yorkshire Cup and the Lancashire Cups should be pre-season games. If there's a purpose in these fixtures, people will come out and watch. And I say, so well done to Batley and Bradford for putting on a show. Hopefully more teams will get involved for next year. But I think the big news for me this week, fellas, is to see the big man back on the field. After 10 months out, Alex Walmsley.
I thought you were talking about Nigel Wood.
Playing for
Bradford
oh, was he?
Well, I mean, you might think that's great, but the trade press doesn't think that was the main comeback this weekend.
Well, I'll tell you what, Big Alex coming back after that injury, which realistically not merely could have ended his career, but also to change his life at a very young age. Back on the rugby league field, what he loves. I think that's a great story for this week for rugby league. And welcome back, Alex. And I'll say you'll be a great asset, not just for St Helens, but you are for the greatest game as well.
Actually, the story this week is neither of those. It's ball bags.
Ball bags?
I hope this, our Scottish listeners might be offended by that.
Hold on. Well, go on then. You have to explain yourself. What are you about now?
We were given a briefing before the Castleford Leeds Callum Watkins testimonial game by Steve Ganson and Steve Presley about the shot clock and how it's going to affect the game, various other things about interchanges, and now to facilitate 30 seconds to drop the ball out when the shot clock is on, you have to have ball bags behind each set of posts with 2 balls in each bag.
It's a good job these.
Wow.
Do all the clubs have enough balls?
Well, this is one of the things that will have to be brought in. I think that they're moving from the requisite number of balls that were previously needed, which I think was 8, to 12. But the home team will be responsible at all times for 2 balls being in the ball bag, so that even if the opposition are dropping out in an unfamiliar venue, they can go straight to the ball bag and not impeach upon the 30 seconds that they've got to drop the ball out.
Very good, very good. I like it.
Hashtag ball bags.
Ball bags, yeah. Well done. I'm pleased about that. It's nice as well to see you two looking a bit smarter than normal, because Scoy and I always look smart, as you know.
Never with
even if Scoy ain't got a shirt that fits him, but he tries to look smart, the lad. You two have been called scruffy.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, actually, all four of us have
can
been
I
called
just, can I
scruffy.
just clear up a tweet that's been sent out on our account? This programme, just in case people think it's sponsored by Colt, it's not. Just so we and Mark don't get in trouble.
All right, okay.
Well, no, we're not now, but the John's got this.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I've got my World Cup 95 tie on. Now, you remember the 95 World Cup? It was on the BBC and Wire TV, a channel
Don't
nobody
mention
remembers. Oh,
the
yeah.
95.
Potential Wales.
Why Scotty were watching it, wasn't
Potential 47.
I tell you what, I should have been selected playing the final. If I'd have been selected, would have won it.
There you go.
There you
Well,
go.
not sent off.
Lack of creativity.
Sadly, we'll never know.
Lack of
Sadly, we'll never know.
creativity.
Yeah, so you've been called scruffy. What have you got
Yeah.
to say for yourself, sure, right?
Oh, I was upset about that and being called negative.
Right, it was
Why?
called you negative.
Phil Seymour off of
Right.
TV's wrestling.
Right. It has been noticed that you've had a change in attitude, Richard Shaw, right? And you are becoming a little bit more aggressive.
Well, why not? What's the
Right,
point?
don't start getting aggressive with me. I want to ask you a
What's the
question.
point?
Yeah.
Everyone gets away with everything. So, you know, we might as well have an opinion.
Have you decided if you're going to go down, you're going to go down
Yeah.
shooting?
What I'm not going to do is on Thursday, when it's the season launch, do a stinging attack on the sport, on the national broadcaster, but got away with that as well, didn't they? So,
You alright?
yeah.
You want to cuddle? You want to hug it out? Or are you alright?
Fine.
What we must say as well before we actually do start talking about rugby league is we had record numbers last week, didn't we, on our
Yes,
podcast?
yes.
Which we are very proud of.
Imagine what they'll be when we dress smart.
Exactly. I'm expecting quadruple numbers.
And it's free as well.
Free.
I think people
on
forget
iTunes.
that. I think people forget this programme's free. They don't have to pay for it.
Just imagine if you did pay for it, how disappointed you would be. Yeah, you would be, wouldn't you?
You'd be hitting that refund button.
You would be. Right, so well done to Bradford. They won yesterday. Really tight battle with Batley. A lot of my friends who are Bradford fans went. Said they thought half-time Batley were going to get the win. They didn't. Apparently they were a bit of argy-bargy. They were getting stuck into each other, just what it should be like. Scully, the only issue we've had, not you necessarily yourself, you were a big advocate of bringing back the Yorkshire Cup, right? But what became apparent yesterday from some of the quotes coming out after the game is that Nigel Wood is being credited with the resurgence of the Yorkshire Cup. Now, Phil and I were told a month before it came out what was going to happen. Has Nigel, I'll come to you in a minute, Scott. Phil, has Nigel Wood, has he still got more of an influence at the RFL than he should have?
I'm sure he's just a lover of the sport who, like us, comes up with constructive suggestions that hits the ears of the people of power, and yeah, probably.
Hey Mark, also as well, haven't I been saying it for the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, you have. Well, I was going to come to that, Gary, because you did say this on this show several years ago. Bring it back.
Yeah.
So have they got a now? Have they got a say to Leeds? Have they got a say to Wakefield? I know we mentioned this last week, right? But what were they at Leeds yesterday? 6,000? Leeds played Cass. There were 3,000 watching Batley and Bradford.
Yeah.
So I think that we've got to expand this. I do think there's going to be an issue next year for Super League clubs getting friendlies if clubs are committed to the Yorkshire Cup.
I agree, and now the planning should be made, the success from it, and so the planning now should be made with the League One clubs and the Championship clubs. Say, listen, this is what we're going to do. If the big boys don't be part of it for next year, fair enough. But we're going to plan around this because it's purposeful.
On the big boys putting in their senior academy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I think
As long
you
as-
invite Leeds Cass.
and
Everybody can play who you want.
Correct.
Just play who you want.
It doesn't devalue the competition if
No,
they decide not to put in all of their top
It's
ranks.
like the same as we know with the football, with that Milk
League
Cup,
Cup,
League
yeah.
Cup, Milk Cup, whatever they call it. You know, so
Milk
it's all
Cup,
the same.
Was that 1986?
But anyway,
1986.
whatever.
He was looking at the results on
Whatever
Ceefax.
it was, but what I'm saying is, you know, the Yorkshire Cup, and the same with the Lancashire Cup as well. The Yorkshire Cup had a sponsor. What was it K2, and they're a back company, and
Yeah,
company.
yeah.
You know, so
And Esso used to do with it when you played.
there'll be sponsors. There'll be sponsors out there, mate, and I say people will come and watch purposeful fixes. And if there's some silverware to be won at the end of it, go out and get it.
The only
Go out and
concern
get it.
is if you invite Leeds, is Featherstone might run out of players.
Or if they drew each other, they'd be swapping them at half time. But if you look at all the friendly fixtures that have been played from Boxing Day to now, a lot of them, if you branded them Yorkshire Cup, they are two Yorkshire teams playing each other anyway. So all you're doing is saying, yeah, it was Callum Watkins' testimonial yesterday, but it was also a game in the
I think
Yorkshire
you could
Cup. So you're
incorporate
not
that.
actually, you don't
Easily
actually
from
have to
Boxing,
change.
from Boxing Day, you can have the Yorkshire Cup until the season starts.
Taking the
Easily.
paper today, if you extend it to 8 teams, it's going to cause lots of problems.
But if you have it in groups and these teams are playing each other anyway,
I don't think it is. I think if you'd have said to Leeds, and we mentioned it last week, Wakey played Hull, Castle have played Leeds, Leeds have played Wakey.
So
You
put
could
them
have
in a
said,
group.
well, yeah, you don't even think you have to do that. I think you just say, look, there's your game.
No, this is
If
the
you want
draw.
to make it a Yorkshire Cup game, make it a Yorkshire Cup game.
Yeah.
You imagine how
But
many
you've
you'd been
got-
ahead in yesterday if that had been the Yorkshire
I
Cup
agree.
final.
But I think
agree
also
totally.
you've got to structure your pre-season. You're not going to know whether you win that first game. Whereas if you
But-
have it in groups like they have done for
But this is the problem that I'm saying for Bradford next year. We've already seen one of their players rather controversially
Yes.
moaning about the number of games they've already had to play without realising it's his club's fault they've had to play
Well-
that number of games. But they're moaning about it. But what they're going to find it hard to do next year is commit to friendlies when they're not going to know, or are they going to commit to playing the Yorkshire Cup games
But also,
and no friendlies?
but also as well, for you keep mentioning they've got to structure the friendlies. I tell you what, when you look at Huddersfield, when you look at their structure, their friendlies, did you see that pathetic side they put out at Workington?
Well,
they said to
But
work.
they're playing Wakefield tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what, but,
So-
but they said to Workington they were going to bring a decent first team up from then. Did you see that side? So what side are they going to put out tomorrow against Wakefield? You know,
Presumably they're
so
stronger too.
so you're talking
Well,
about
that could be
you're
the
talking about the
Yorkshire
structure
Cup
of friendlies. These sides aren't even taking the friendlies even seriously,
I think-
but they would do. There's a purpose in the fixtures.
There's another side to this. Why do pre-season games have to be your testimonial game?
Well, I guess that's for the money side of it, isn't it?
But what if we had a round of matches in the middle of the season? We've had at least 4 or 5 top players who've had testimonials at different
I
clubs.
feel that would work.
Why?
Yeah.
And they get a share
Hold
of the
on,
game.
hold on. We've got clubs screaming they ain't got enough money. They're not going to say, yeah, we'll give away
But-
15,000
no,
round.
but they're giving away the equivalent. They wouldn't give all of it. They might give
Yeah,
a share
they
of
will
it.
do.
No, I'm just saying, if you
Not
had a
special
round
shirt.
whereby, Callum Watkins and
Phil, have you been on the wine? It's a pathetic
Low
statement.
Max. Why?
Testimonial games in the season.
No,
The clubs
they
will never
are,
gonna-
they are the league games, but they are branded as a player's
What's the
testimonial.
point in that?
Because more people will go, the
No, they
testimonial
won't.
recipient will make
No, they
more
won't.
money.
How many people were at the
And
Boxing
it's
Day
free.
game for Leeds and Cast?
But it-
10,000, only 6,000
But
there.
but it frees up pre-season to do what you want to do with the Yorkshire Cup.
No. You're bonkers. Have you been on the wine today?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. A lot of people wanting to talk about Widdop. We will mention it.
I don't know what they want us to say. Right, it's a terrible
Great signing. Great signing. It is a great. It is a
It
great
is,
signing.
Do you know
and it
what? It's the
shows.
start and the end of the salary cap.
Well, that's,
I don't think it
well,
is.
Here's the
I
thing
don't
from,
think it
here's
is.
the thing from last week, because
Go on,
obviously we weren't invited to. I mean, I don't expect to be invited to speak to Robert Elson. I'm just some fellow with a laptop.
Don't worry, we'll be talking about Robert Elson later.
But
Politician.
one of the things he said, I read, was, "I'm not going to chase the salary cap. You can have, we'll think about having unlimited marquee players," which is pretty much saying, just do whatever you want, lads.
And we know that the richest club in the game for going out and signing players is Warrington. So they've already bought Blake Austin for this year. Widdop's in for next year. Some of their other players, I think, are high value players, as they should be. They got to the two finals last year. I think there'll be a push from the clubs that can afford it to say, look, if you give us license to go out and sign players, we can get Gareth Widdop a year early. And that's what this whole push to get personalities into the sport is all about. So I think Elston's saying, I've told everybody that we need to have personalities. That might mean that they go out and sign an England Rugby Union player, and perhaps, although they get dispensation on the salary cap, there's still a proportion of it. Perhaps we'll wipe that. This is the start of the end of the salary cap.
Why is the salary cap in place? Is it to stop clubs going bust, or is it to level the competition out?
I think a bit of both, mate, to be honest with you.
But it's
Right,
clearly
bit of
failed
both.
in levelling the competition out.
It's a bit of both.
Well, it
isn't
has, but then again, quote the NFL, Patriots got to the Super League, to the Super Bowl again. It does happen, but I don't think you can, because Wigan have got rid of one of their marquee players. So if we say, right, it's open season, you'll go back to when Scully played, and one team will win everything because they'll buy all the best
Which is
players.
what's happening at the moment.
see,
But
also-
is that what we want as a sport?
No, but what we want is the ability to market the sport with big name people.
So we're going to market the sport, but we're going to make it worse at the same
No, I'm
time.
not sure you will, because it'll be the same as it is. No, we haven't had a new name on the Super League trophy since 2004.
Also, as well, Phil, right? Put it to this: we're talking about with the marquee signings, and certainly Warrington are looking to buy it, aren't they? There's no
Yeah,
choice.
but to
about
be
it.
fair, Gary, we
But it doesn't
criticised
mean
them last
that they
year
will.
for the guy
Oh.
Roberts was a joke.
I agree.
They've gone out,
Hey,
they've got Austin,
mate,
and
it's
now
a
they're
great-
going out
listen,
and
listen,
getting Gareth Widdop.
Widdop will bring everything what they want: composure, smartness,
Good kicking.
and creativity. He'll bring all that game management. It's a great signing. Don't worry about that. But also, too, from Warrington's point of view, Will they get full houses? We can't win it signing for them. They don't even fill the stadium, do they? Will they fill the
might,
place?
because they've got a year to sell him in partnership with Blake Austin. So yeah, it's a fantastic move.
Oh, yeah, it's a great signing.
It's
no
what
doubt about
every
it.
club should be doing to look to bring in as many top line players as they can. And it comes back to the fact that we've got clubs within our competition that don't spend the salary cap. So you're already not starting from that level playing field that it was set out to achieve in the very
Yeah,
first
but one of
place.
them won it last year.
Yeah, and they might win it again. And the Patriots
So what does it matter?
So you may as well not have it. You've just argued against yourself. If it doesn't matter, you may as well not have it. Warrington made a mistake last year. They brought in a marquee player who clearly didn't do the job that they wanted them to do. So it doesn't necessarily mean just because you can sign who you want, you're going to be the best team. What we do know is that in the NFL, in the NRL, that where they have had a salary cap that everybody observes, yes, clubs like Melbourne get to the final more often than other clubs, but no team has retained the trophy in the Super League era. That's what we want to get to.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I'm interested, mate.
I think it's a brilliant signing, but
it is a great signing.
And I
it
think
is.
it says that Warrington are serious about spending any money that their owner wants to give them on top name players. And if let's say there is an England Rugby Union player who plays particularly well in the Six Nations or the World Cup, and he may even have links with Rugby League, and somebody wants to go out and buy him because Rob Elston says we need stars to promote competition with, you're going to have the licence to do that.
Who's good enough for the Rugby Union to come to Rugby League?
I don't know if Owen Farrell's good enough because I know he played Rugby League as a kid.
Owen doesn't need to come. Owen doesn't need to come.
I know he doesn't need to, but if Simon Moran said,
he doesn't need
here's
to come.
Peckforth Castle and the keys,
Well, Owen Farrell's doing very, very well.
but he may
Rugby
decide after the next World Cup, he's achieved everything. in Rugby
He
League.
may decide he wants like a 100% pay cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll come, lads.
Well,
don't worry about
would
it.
it-
See, also
Would it
well,
stay in
Phil,
30 grand
Phil,
every
Would
time I
it,
play
would
for
it
England?
come in for less money?
Phil, also as well. You know,
but he's returning home. There's a reason.
So might Owen Farrell. He's never tried
Yeah,
it.
yeah, but Phil
Why
also-
did Kevin Sinfield have an ill-fated season in Rugby Union? Because as a professional sportsman, he just wanted to say he tried it. Owen Farrell might want to
Phil,
end his career.
How old is with him?
Yeah, 31 when he comes over here. Right,
So he's coming then for a big
yeah, he's
final
coming for his
play,
pension. But right, Phil, let me just say this about with the Rugby Union players now, and they say why would they want to come to Rugby League? Certainly on foul, you look at the George Ford, the two league players from there. The reason why Owen's old man Andrew went to Rugby Union, the reason why Jason Robinson went to Rugby Union, the reason why Henry Paul went to Rugby Union was quite simple. All right, they got a nice pay there, but they wanted to be recognised on the big stage, playing international sport. Hold on, Owen Farrell, now with the 68s, is captain of England from there. But also, too, there's another British Lions tour coming up, and it easily could be captain. That why the bloody hell would he want to come back to Rugby League?
In 2021, he could be playing for England in a World Cup here on home
In
soil.
2021, he could be captain of the British Lions
No, he may have
to
achieved,
South Africa.
may have achieved everything he wants to achieve.
Are these space cakes?
Have you been on the wine today?
What have you been?
Have you been on the wine today?
I think it's a lack of sleep.
Is your head getting
Hey,
cold after
hey,
your
hey,
haircut?
I think it's a lack of sleep.
We need to sign Rory Beth. What a performer he was at the weekend.
Oh yeah,
man.
did you see that? What did it, 12 drives and 14 metres made?
Who's that?
The guy for, was it Ulster?
Ulster.
Oh, right.
Rory
They were
Beth.
big
But I tell you what as well,
and
the,
6 tackles as well.
It's going
Scotty made more than that.
but
Yeah,
another,
but this was a career.
but I
This
think
guy was in a
that's
match.
a bit harsh, Phil, it's a bit harsh. But also, but it's a big call as well from Cal. Is it Kirkpatrick? Is it Warrington? Is it
Fitzpatrick.
Cal Fitzpatrick? Yeah, by Williams, the biggest signing, in the Super League era. I've got to debate that, to be honest with you, fellas,
Go on,
because even though he only played 3 games for Warrington, Andrew Johnson the biggest signing in Super League history,
But
without a shadow of a
I
doubt.
don't mind him saying that because he's caused debate.
And Phil,
It clearly isn't.
Phil, I get that.
Clearly isn't the biggest signing.
I get that,
ever.
but Andrew Jones is the biggest sign, even though he only played 3 games.
But I think
You
it's
know,
right.
the excitement he
This is what
created.
we should be talking about rather than administrators. Who was the greatest player to play Super League? I think it's a great debate,
That Welsh
even if
player,
he's wrong.
That Welsh Rugby Union player Wigan signed. What was he called? One who drove his golf cart.
Oh, the forward.
Yes,
Yeah.
Andy.
He was a good one.
late on in his
Oh yeah,
career.
you forget that. You forget. But what we've shot, I think two things. Warrington are trying to buy the competition, aren't they? To win.
Are they,
the
or
tr-
are they just spending their money wisely?
Well, they're spending on top quality because they know where they're falling down, don't they? And also do another 2 things for Warrington. Certainly 2 players. It'll be ending Kevin Brown's career at Warrington. Kevin hopefully get the grand final this year because it'll be his last season at Warrington. Certainly as a main player. And also Declan Patton. Now, if I were Declan's agent, I'd be on the phone and say, listen, I'm going to get you to Cass because he's no future at Warrington. Simple as that.
Alan says, what about Wally Lewis? Maybe one of the best.
No, not in Super League. He's not. We're talking about the Super League here, aren't we?
No Rugby League was played before 1990.
No, we're talking about. Well, you're talking about the quality. Well, the king. He's the king. Simple as that. No, there's no argument or debate. Wally Lewis.
Just imagine if Wally Lewis, a Wally Lewis style player, rocked up at Wakefield now.
That's what the week buys you.
RSW won't be able to get down there and spend his money quickly.
There must be players at Wakefield now who aren't on the ground.
Yeah, there's only one king. There won't be. Well, we will never ever see another Wally Lewis. Listen, that's sensational. I can't speak highly enough as a player what he was. You know, from a point of view where, not just with the organisation, with the creativity, his toughness, his leadership, the respect he had from everybody, not just from his own players, the players, played against him. Listen, a one-off, absolute one-off, Wally Lewis.
Even if he did get sent off at Leeds.
Did he get sent off? What did he get sent off for?
It'd change somebody, wouldn't it? I would imagine.
I think it was more to do with constant chirping to the referee.
Oh,
about what was happening to
it was like
about what was happening. Well, I would imagine
because mourning Aussies. Is that what you say?
Wally will tell you every opponent. Used to literally when he got on the ground, there were 3 or 4 of the English guys just literally smashing him, saying to him, "Yeah, you're on £1,000 a week. Have some of that." He went, "Yeah, I'm on £900 a week more than you now. Get off your pommy throat." So you can understand why Wally was complaining because he was getting smashed every week. But there's only one Wally Lewis. Don't worry about
that. Sean. Talking about Warrington and their great signings on the YouTube. Alfie Langer, Lee Breers, he was alright. Jonathan Davis, he did okay.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see his picture he tweeted last week?
Yes.
What's that all about?
I tell you what, as well, when you talk about Warrington, back in my day, you look at the pack of forwards they had. Les Boyd, Steve Roach, Kevin Tamati in the front row. Absolute frightened. And then Les Davison in the back row, Alan Rathbone there, and then a young Mike Gregory coming through. I made a wonderful call at the zoo.
And if you needed him,
made a wonderful call at the zoo.
If you needed him, Paul Cullen was around.
Paul Cullen, well, chatty. Did I tell you about the story about when he needed me just before half time at Wilderspoon? Just literally 10 seconds. I dropped the ball under our sticks, and I dived on it, and he just a good friend me and Chatty. And anyway, so he comes in. Both knees in my back, and my kidneys were literally where my tonsils were supposed to be. I knew they were near my tonsils because my tonsils had gone literally. So the half-time hooter goes, and I says, and he was running off, so I runs after him. In pain, I just said to him, "Chatty, what you done that for? What you done that for? We're supposed to be mates, me and you." He went, "Scully, it's a mark of respect." Just kept going, mark of respect. It's good to be liked because what would he do? What would he do to me if he didn't like me? Honestly, but he was a quality player as well with Paul Cullen.
We heard rumours last week of dressing room unrest on pre-season tour. We're not going into detail. Some people fell out with me on Twitter about it. It's like, don't shoot me, I didn't do it. Have you any tales of pre-season or training fisticuffs? Did anyone smack you or do you learn on anyone?
No, mate, honestly, no, honestly, I can honestly say...
They didn't have warm weather training.
The pre-season... He
spent 80% of his professional career in the pub, so he must have had some fight.
We used to go to Magaluf for pre-season before the Challenge Cup started. We were there in January, for 5 days. The first time we played Oldham. Jesus Christ, I don't know how we won that game, to be honest with you, because we were just literally drinking. But, mate, to be honest with you, I would say on the pre-season trips I've been on, there was no trouble. Well, I want it with the Bobby Gouldings, with Doug Lawton, with young Gareth Stevens. But apart from that, as far as the pre-seasons I've been on, no trouble whatsoever. No.
There must have been some scrapping.
No, I can say no scrapping. But arguments and debates, but no scrapping, to be honest with you.
A bit like you.
No.
No Australian walking out the side of a tackle shield or anything like that.
Oh, you'd have some of that. Do you know what I mean? But there were not really any scrapping. Well, one of our players at Leeds under the Doug Lawton era, Gary Rose, he wanted to belt everybody, and I know the 2 front rowers he wanted to belt, Neil Harmon and Ali Howard, but unfortunately it wasn't from there. But as far as fisticuffs go and falling out from there, it wasn't. Well, back in our day, it would disclose a few beers and in bed at 11 o'clock.
In the morning.
In the morning, yeah. Curfew's 11 lads tomorrow.
Before training started.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, that would never
What about
happen
in
today,
Australia? When you went to Balmain and West, anybody looking out for you in training?
You used to tell me that
Upon
Mal
one?
really just used to go around smacking everyone anyway, so he must have had a go.
No, Mal, no. I mentioned it to Richard De Veers from the league, especially about with Mal. Really, one thing for sure, with Mal, if Mal told you it was 12 o'clock curfew, you made sure you got in at 10 to 12, because if you're a minute late, you know what you're going to get. So you daren't literally go against him because you knew he'd give you.
Yeah, but
crap.
you've always told me as a player who was always looking, as a player who was he lived life on the edge.
Yeah, Mal.
He must have gone over the edge in training some months.
No, not really, because we knew what he were like. We knew we could maybe just take him to that point. But then, if you knew Mal raised his voice, we all know how Malcolm speaks. If you knew raised his voice, you wasn't going to give him a second opportunity. Honestly, no.
You were scared of Mal, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
You ask anybody.
I know.
Mark, you ask anybody.
It's called respect, isn't it? I think.
Well, absolutely. Do you know what? We went on one tour, and this was you've been away with cricket, have you? We went on 1990. You know the Roy Orbison, Pretty Woman. Well, it was a team theme, a squad theme. Everybody in New Zealand, you had to sing Pretty Woman in front of the bus, but you had the earphones on from there, so you can hear yourself. But everybody on the bus did, and microphones. So honestly, it was absolutely hilarious. Anyway, and the coach himself had to do it. And Mal got up and did it, in his posh tone. Oh, literally, we were just literally curled up laughing, and calling him all the names under the sun. It's a good job he had his earmuffs on from there, because if he would have heard us with what we're saying about him, he would have just literally, smashed us all. But no, just the fun days, and I get team bonding, which is different ways. But as far as Mal really went, if Mal said it was 12 o'clock curfew, you was in at 10 to 12. Simple as that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. We've got a famous person listening,
Have we?
but he won't be happy with a quote of Peter Wilkinson. I think it's in relation to the article in the paper today about Danny Brough bringing trophies to Wakefield. He says, Peter, says, I didn't know they had a darts and pool team at Wakefield. That's a bit harsh. That is a bit.
I don't think any of the Wakefield players were accused.
Well, to be honest with you, what trophies are they going to bring?
Challenge Cup. Yorkshire Cup, they keep back
They're
from
going
the
to be in the top 4 this year.
Oh,
Never mind the 5, they're going to be in the 4.
Oh,
Wakefield.
Come in Super
have
League.
you been on the same line as Phil Caplan?
No, I'm telling you.
Are you bonkers? Are you bonkers? Are you bonkers? They're going to be in the top 4. They're in the top 4, Wakefield.
Yeah.
Defend yourself then. How? How are they going to be in the top 4? Because of Danny Brough.
They've improved their squad. They've been 5th the last 2 years, and really being 5th, and I think have lost a couple of games they should comfortably have won. They've got that man to get them over the line.
Right.
They've got players that are getting better. They've brought in Kopcha. I cannot believe a bigger club. I don't mean that, but one of the clubs chasing silverware should have been in for him. He's a quality player. They have got a really good team. If they keep injury free, they will be in the 5 for definite.
I'll tell you what.
We've got competition for places in virtually every position.
Yeah.
Well, last week I said it, and I'm going to say it again. Be a test of character when they go to London next week. London want to make it.
We've got a curry on that, by the way. You do know that, don't you?
Don't worry about that. And also as well, it'd be a test of character. London, they would have looked at the fixtures and saying, yeah, Wakefield's won. Well, hopefully we can win. They look at Salford, they look at Ulkiar, maybe the black and whites on there. Tell you what, I said to you last week, I'll say it again now. I'm taking London by 8 to beat Wakefield in the first game of the season.
I don't
That's
know
Wakefield
if
getting off to a good start.
I don't know if it was the first game last year. Newly promoted Ulkiar home to Wakefield. Wakefield went there, absolutely smashed them. They'll do it again.
The worry for London is their only pre-season game is at Doncaster yesterday, which they won easily. I don't know how that prepares you for 29 rounds of Super.
We'll ask Danny Ward on Thursday. We'll ask him to say.
How many games have Leeds got? They've got another game, Leeds? Well, they've only had 2, Phil.
No, they've only had 1.
Oh, Leeds?
Yeah, they've only really had 1, which was yesterday.
Well, Wakefield?
Yeah, only half the team played in that. That was, yesterday was the big hit out with, we'll pick as near as we can to the first team line.
And how did we go, you said? How did we go overall?
It was, Cass started the better.
What was the result, Phil?
26-24 to Cass.
So Leeds lost.
Callum Watkins testimonial. Yeah, and deserved it. 6 tries to 5. But I think what we did see...
Do you not do goal kicking?
Well, it's interesting because I think that's where the shot clock comes in. That there is now a need to hurry up your kicking. Most of the tries were scored out wide. And because you are under this 80-second rule determined by the referee, There is more of a sense that you can't hang around. The game was quicker. There were less stoppages. But Leeds won a scrum against the head. Both teams were packing down to get within the shot clock, and Leeds struck for it and won the ball on Wakefield feed, and it was allowed to get.
Kevin says London play the league on Sunday.
Oh, excellent. Good. Well, hopefully they'll play their first.
How was Liam Sutcliffe injury? Is it serious?
He made his way to the dugout, hobbled down the touchline, but it's one of those where it needs to be scanned.
How does Leeds look?
They got better as the game went on. Cass were clearly the best team for the first half an hour. They looked like a team that had done a week's warm weather training together, where they were crisper with their handling. I thought Peter Matauti was superb.
I think he was an underrated signing last year. He was an underrated signing. Very
Real
much so.
threat from the back.
He's a good player, yeah. I like
Michael
him.
Shenton was in the form where if you played outside him, I could have scored. He was just giving perfect.
Hold on, is that you with your knee bandage on
Yeah.
or without?
5 metres.
We need to
from
clarify that.
5 metres. But he was just creating wonderful space for his
He's
winger
a world
outside.
class. Well, he's a very good centre. Well, he's world class now, but he is for me.
So Cass started really, really well. Jordan Rankin, thumbs up to him. 4 training sessions with the team. He was in charge. You know, he allowed Truman to do what Truman did. Truman set up, I think, 3 tries with kicks, but that's because Rankin was getting them to the right part of the field. So it worked for half an hour. Then Cass lost a little bit their intensity, and Leeds found their feet in the game. It was a really enjoyable game, and the shot clock does make a difference. It does. I'm not convinced it's anything more than cosmetic, but the fact that the players are not feigning injury to get to a scrum, there's a more, not only is there more speed to the game, but there's more licence to move the ball. So I think we saw more. That's why we got 11 tries. And they were all out wide.
One thing that surprised me was the Yorkshire Cup was played on the same run. I thought, hang on, well, what's happening with
As long as
that
there's no
run?
shot clock.
Well, that's the email we got, isn't it? It said that they were playing under. I don't know if it
I
was or
think
not.
they are playing under the shot clock in the Championship, but it's not visible in the ground. So I think the referees are telling the players that, you know, your time's virtually up here. And logic says if you have the coaches in a room and say, look, you're pushing the laws too far, so we're going to tighten the laws, you probably don't need a shot clock. Part of it is the entertainment value for the people in the ground.
No, I think you do
But
it,
what-
and then eventually you won't need it.
Well, one of the things that I think works with the shot clock is that we've reduced the interchanges.
Yeah.
So the fact is now, if you are going down injured after the shot clock is on, you have to go off. So your team is either going to be defending for a set with 12 men, or you're going to be forced to make an interchange on the limited number of interchanges you've got. So all of that, I think, added together. One thing that Steve Ganson said that was interesting was I wasn't convinced that the shot clock would make a lot of difference if on televised games we still had 74 referrals to a video referee, and to me it seems like the video referee is taking longer. He produced stats that said it's actually less. That they're now going to the video referee for what you might call mission creep, for only 2 views, you know, who touched it before it went out. But in terms of the length of time it takes to decide on a try, he's saying that's gone down. He's also saying he's going to back the referees to make more decisions.
We might lose Steve Ganson anyway because the NFL needs someone to sort out their refs.
Did you see it? Did you watch
I
it
saw
last
the
night?
first one.
Oh, the
I didn't see
second one
the
was
second
horrendous.
one.
The second one was horrendous.
There's 2 penalties there.
Yeah.
How many referees?
Well, the Saints didn't get to the Super Bowl.
that's
The
what
guy
I
gets
saw.
wiped out,
Don't watch it.
and they didn't even.
Oh,
it
it's
was
proper
outrageous.
obstruction. Proper obstruction.
Oh, it was outrageous.
But-
So they're now they've got 12 refs on this. On
But
the
isn't
field.
this part of sport? Because
Well-
we don't want to argue. For, mistakes need to happen.
Yeah, they do. But
Otherwise,
I think
what will we
those,
talk about?
without being
No.
rude, those were that bad. They don't need. to.
How were the lead signings? Mirren and
Horrell was man of the
Horrell.
match for me.
right.
Again, almost impossible to handle. Created a couple of lovely tries for Handley outside him. Particularly off a scrum where a team, again, are rushing to get the scrum, and perhaps the defensive line isn't quite as set as it used to be. To have Horrell running out, he made a lot of metres in that aspect of the game. He looked very good. Merrin had a couple of stints and, again, got stronger as the game went on. He's just a relentless worker. You're not going to see anything too flashy out of him.
How did Callum Watkins play?
Yeah, good. I mean, again, when you've been out for 7 months, it's really tough. I think he played longer. He was told he was only going to play 40 minutes and played an hour. Clearly isn't match fit, but great
Good
to see him
reception
out.
for him yesterday.
Yeah, really. 6,000 for a testimonial game is as high as it's been in recent times. That's why I just think if you make it part of the season, you have a round within the season that's the testimonial. Any player you've got that has a testimonial, if there'd been 18,000 there because it was a league game and it got a third of the game, the club wouldn't have lost anything, but just
course they
elevates
would.
it. It just elevates
Yes, it
more.
would.
No, it elevates it.
It's not. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It ain't going to happen.
No,
it's not going to happen.
But I think the players that got, Johnny Lomax, who had a
I say,
testimonial.
what, does that not make you feel old?
Yes.
When it's Johnny Lomax's testimonial.
Yes. Well, when
It was like, what?
Callum Watkins is bringing on his son, and you're thinking, but I thought you were that age when I started watching.
How are the halfbacks? Mile
I
and
thought need a bit more time. Lola here created a couple of tries with his kicks, but his kicking in general play too often went to
who
the
would be the main general?
It's Lola here's game, and Myla's there again to get them in the right part of the field. And Myla gets the chance to run out of dummy half a little bit, which was good. He made some good meters, but they need time. In this cold weather, he's not going to tell you whether they're a great partnership or not. But there are some. What's
cold weather got to do with it?
Because again they'll be playing
Better
in
get
the
used to it.
summer.
Better get
won't
used
they,
to it. It's going to freeze in the next month.
I think that next week because the season starts.
They should be running faster to keep warming.
He'll be all right. He'll be all right. He's
happening?
already looking like a more expansive team than last year.
The cast contingent on the Facebook
Go on.
say we all need to praise Foster for shutting Hurrell down.
He didn't shut him down. He did a fantastic
There you
job
go.
when he isn't an out-and-out centre, and he scored a great try and slapped him around the head once, which he was penalised for. Look, Foster's a great player. You can play him anyway. He was absolutely superb, but he didn't shut down Hull.
I did enjoy Cast fans on social media tweeting and Facebooking that they're still unbeaten at Headingley since 2013. It's friendly, doesn't count.
No.
Doesn't
I
mean
mean-
anything.
Hold on. And I'm Cass's biggest fan, right?
He doesn't.
They're unbeaten at Headingley since 2013, and how many of them games actually meant anything? They lost the one, but you know
The
what,
two.
Cass fans,
The two.
you'd have happily said we've lost 50-0 every time we've been for the last 50 years and beaten them in that grand final.
Or the Challenge Cup final.
Wakefield
The-
lost.
I think that-
No one likes Leeds, Phil. Shut
That's,
up.
no, that's good. That's fine. I think Leeds thrive off that. But what was interesting was when more and more substitutions came on. Obviously, the intensity lessened a little bit. But both teams brought on kids that looked like they could hold their own.
If you don't like Leeds, we'll have some don't like Leeds related merchandise available soon.
All right, is that it?
Oh yeah. I'll show you in a bit. It's superb.
There he goes.
I've
We'll
employed.
get Scoit away.
Oh yeah, we will. I've
We'll
employed
get
him.
Scoit
Oh,
away.
what do you mean?
He's
I'm a Leeds
superb.
supporter, so I'm not going to be wearing it.
Oh, you'll like
I'm
it.
a Leeds
You'll lose
fan.
your toll.
You'll like
I'm a
it.
Leeds
You'll
fan.
like it. No, you'll like
Eh?
it. No, you'll like this one, Scott. You'll like it for your grandkids will love it.
Oh, right.
The Trieste. I can't speak French. It says a little bit of League One chat perhaps. Thunder Rugby looking the real deal. Beat Wakefield on Saturday
We're
afternoon.
going to talk about League One a bit later on because we need to go on about that. I've got questions about Newcastle, and I mentioned the other week about the fact we've moved Magic Weekend away. I seriously think, as a sport now, we and this is going to be outspoken. We should be saying to that guy at Newcastle, right? We want you in Super League now. The kids are playing sport. The ground is superb. The infrastructure's already there. He's starting to put some money on. It'd be amazing if they're not top two in League One.
Newcastle Rugby Union, who play out at the same stadium, backed by the same entrepreneur,
Yeah.
are now saying that their crowds this season are up 11%. That they're taking a game to St James's Park against Sale. They're already ahead of ticket sales for the big one or whatever there are 2 European Championship Rugby Union finals being played at St. I just hope we don't surrender that ground because we are starting to build something in Newcastle. And I accept that Wakefield didn't take their strongest team, even though Chris Chester said there'll be some guys playing in that game who perhaps wouldn't have been if they'd performed there the week before. That's a great result for Newcastle. When you look at some of the League One sides that have played, even Super League Academy teams in this warm-up, most of them have been beat. So to turn one over, you are producing a quality of player now up in the North East. And they've not brought in a lot of players. Most of the ones are locally produced. There's something there that we cannot let go.
Well, there is, and I know Leeds were down at Coventry
again
on Friday night, much closer than it was last year when they got absolutely brushed aside. Coventry are growing, and off the field as well, marketing themselves better than most clubs do.
I think with Newcastle, you've seen what they're doing on the field.
But as a sport, do we not need to say to that guy? That guy can clearly, if he wants to say, I want a team in Super League, I can pay for it. Do we say, right, you are having a team in Super League?
Well, and the problem with, I was no fan of the Eights, but the Eights gave 4 teams outside of Super League the chance to be in Super League. Now we've gone to 1 up, 1 down. If the guy from Newcastle has serious aspirations, it's going to take him a while. So you have to decide again, what do you want the sport to look like by the time the next television deal comes, and by the time probably 2 or 3 years after that. What do you want it to look like? Be honest and open and say, we can't turn entrepreneurs away. I think what Coventry are doing is equally as laudable, but in a different way. I think the fact that they streamed their game on Friday, kept virtually the same attendance as the last time the 2 teams played, although the sides were different. Coventry had a stronger team out, Leeds had a junior academy team out. That's one of the reasons why the result was closer. But Coventry realised, and not enough teams do this, that they were bringing a brand. It didn't matter to the people of Coventry who was playing for Leeds, they were playing Leeds.
Well, I think
they also realised,
if it's the kids, that they're going to be good because they play for Leeds.
And they also knew that there was a chance they'd bump into Rob Burrow, who coaches this team, to Kevin Sinfield, who was coming down with the team, to Gary Hetherington, who's a mover and a shaker in the sport. So you can build your corporate around, come and have a real exceptional night out that you wouldn't normally have. But the other thing is streaming that game. They realised quite brilliantly that perhaps a number of Leeds fans wouldn't come this time because they weren't seeing all the top stars playing. But there were a lot of Leeds fans that paid £5 to watch that game, and I don't find anybody that said it wasn't value for money. That is the way ahead.
It's the future.
Well, and it's a team like Coventry that are doing that.
Yeah, and for people saying, "Oh well, they won't have many," right? This is the basics of it, right? If you can get 1,000 people a week paying £5 to watch your game, that is £5 a week over a 30 grand season. 30 game season is 150,
which is double what they're being given from the centre. But even more than that, I think the important thing is that the information coming back is they made a significant profit on that £5. So you're not giving them £5 and they're giving 4 to the people that are producing the podcast. They are keeping most of it. It's a generator for the club.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
which is fantastic.
Maybe there, and all right, we know it's League One and you can't do it in the Championship, for instance, where that you might get those 1,000 people wanting to pay £5 to watch it. But I think I think more clubs need to be a bit smarter about that.
How a league needs to do it.
Well, there you go.
I mean, but this is the problem with the sport in general. We had a discussion with people on Friday night when we were talking about this, because some people were happy to pay a £5 and some people didn't want to pay. They're not paying.
Don't play, don't watch it. Don't matter. Your loss. How many people pay £15 and watch a film of the boxing now?
Or even these testimonial games where you're going to have unlimited interchange and you're not going to see the first team play for the full 80 minutes. People will still pay £15 for that. The choice is yours.
How much have we devalued things in the sport where people want everything for free? Someone just got a tweet earlier about the triple header at Bolton, which is going to be a great day, isn't it? Because you've got the Challenge Cup final for the women, and then you've got the 2 men's semi-finals all on one ticket, which no doubt will be cheap. And I'm trying to find the tweet now. Someone was saying that why don't we give away a load of tickets to amateur clubs or whatever? No, you've got to pay. You've got to pay for these things.
With 30,000 capacity at Bolton, which I believe is just over 30, they will sell that out because they've announced it 7 months before, which is what we've been saying. Let people know in advance. I'd buy a ticket now to just watch the women's grand final, because the women's cup final, because we were fortunate enough to be at that game last year at Warrington, and that was amongst the top 5 games that I saw last year.
What's it going to be like for the players playing in that environment?
And I think fans will go early because it's a meaningful fixture.
Is it going to be the first game or the one in the middle?
You'd hope it. I don't know.
I think
want it to be the first game
because
I'd say put it in the middle.
I don't know, because I think after the first game you're going to lose the majority of those fans. It's if you've lost in a semi-final, you're not going to stay around and watch anything else. If you've won, where's the nearest pub? I think put it on first, get 4 sets of fans buying into, or 6 sets of fans buying in to get there early. I think they will. I think that'll be a sellout.
What will be interesting is, and it could well happen, is that you have one of the teams in the women's and one of the teams in the men's.
That's what you'd hope.
Which would be pretty good. I mean, that could actually work out. You could have a Wigan Saints semi-final and a final.
Well, the final last year was Leeds and Cass.
Yeah,
you can imagine both of those might be in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup. They might even be playing each other. I mean, it'd just be brilliant.
But I have to say, I was really pleased about that. Really pleased that they've done that. What they have done is they've given that game some credibility before it's even started.
I think they've realised that the women's game has a marketable value to it. Why have Coral been so keen to get involved in a 7-figure bid because they get two sports effectively, not one.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think the second one that they're getting is more valuable to them as a company. And the television that's going to come with the women's game as well, I think, makes it even more valuable.
I should apologise to Bob. He actually said, what better way of re-engaging fans of amateur clubs than offering buy one get one free to anyone who collects vouchers from attending 3 games from earlier rounds, keeps first round club supporters invested and might bring them to the final. This is regarding Bolton. The problem I'd say with that is, you know when they showed amateur games on TV last year? There weren't thousands of people there. So we're catering there, we're giving away tickets to a very small amount of people.
I think do that for the final. Absolutely. Put in a reward system for going to Wembley.
Yeah, I get
But
it.
I think you can sell 30,000 seats at
Especially in
proper
the north,
value.
in the middle.
Yeah.
And the sport, particularly the governing body, needs as much money as it can get.
Jeff's made a point. He's sort the bars out of Bolton. I know there was an issue last year.
Yes,
Right, and that is not to do with the RFL. As much as I want to beat them with as many things I can beat them for, I can't beat them for that. And what you'll find is Bolton or whatever will have seen the amount of money they lost, and they will be prepared next time. Because as it stands, that club is skint, and they need every bean they can get their hands on. So I think that will happen.
Toby's
go on, sorry.
Toby's mentioned that. Is there a slight PR wrongdoing by taking the Summer Bash to Bloomfield rather than the Challenge Cup semi-finals to Bolton, given both situations surrounding the football clubs at the minute? I think Blackpool is because of its location more than anything else, and there are obviously major issues with the people who run that club on and off the field, which we don't need to get into. But the problem with the Bash this year, anyway, it's got the blooming game in Barcelona up against it.
I think the thing about Bolton is the Rugby League have seen an opportunity where they can probably get the stadium relatively cheap because the club is on its absolute uppers. But I also think we too often do things once, and you don't. It's like what you were saying about Magic Weekend. You know, what do we want it to be? But if there is an element to it where participation increases in the area in which you take it, then I think you should have the semi-finals again at Bolton, so that all the people that thought, I didn't go, but it seemed a much better occasion than I really wished I had, will get the chance
We want
to
it
go.
to sell out, and
I
that's
think
my
it'll sell
annoyance
out
at
early.
Newcastle,
Yeah.
is that they've gone without selling it out. Even if you only sell one day out, you get it sold out, and that's what you do. And I think we've missed a trick there.
Yeah, it's legacy.
Dom, interesting, said, does Women's Super League have the shot clock? I don't think anyone knows. One thing I've been made aware of in the last few days is that the RFL are controlling Women's Super League, which seems strange because Women's Super League, the majority of clubs in it are in Super League. You would have thought that'd all be under one house, but we'll talk about Robert Elston and Super
Maybe
League
not
in a
to
bit.
start with, because you're making a blank sheet of paper overly long. I think the women's sport needs time to develop. We had 7 teams in the Super League last year. It surprised even the RFL. I think they must have sat down on the season ended and went, we've created something here that we thought might be about increasing participation, but actually is about quality and standard as well.
Yeah.
And I think, another year under the auspices of the people looking after it, build it again. Now there's 8 teams in Super League, Championship's been strengthened. I don't have a problem. At some point it may have to transfer over. I know at Leeds, which is the only experience I've got, and I apologise to.
No, that's fine. We will let you off.
The women's team came through the foundation.
Yeah.
It was formed through the idea was
I think they all are out there. I think they all are.
It was all about participation for more women and girls starting in schools and leading up to open age. It's now been taken on by the club from the foundation, because I think again there is a marketing exercise that needs to be done that's beyond the charitable arm of the club. So I think gradually, as the teams become under the clubs, then the Super League will take charge of the competition. But at the moment, there's probably not enough for them to get their teeth into.
Okay. Good stuff. Gary makes a good point. By having it at Bolton, you're missing a chance to reward Headingley with a semi-final after all the money they've spent. I think the problem, it's not a problem at all. Headingley's a great ground. It looks amazing. It ain't even finished yet. It doesn't hold enough people.
But it needs to be a neutral venue. And I'm not saying Leeds will get there, but if you decide...
There's a good chance in there.
But even if you're deciding a venue 7 months out before the competition started, you cannot be seen to be favouring one of the teams that are in it.
No, completely agree.
The interesting thing is, we know that the bit we haven't talked about, because we talked about it endlessly last week, that Catalans are in, thank goodness.
Yes.
We need to know if Toronto are going to be in.
And Toulouse?
No, Toulouse have decided they don't want
Oh, they
to.
don't.
Last year, they weren't in it.
Yeah.
because they're not members of the league, they can make a decision. I think they felt last year, particularly with the 8s, that they had more chance of getting promotion if they weren't in the Challenge Cup. So there was a loophole that they exploited. I don't think we've excluded them. It's the other way around.
Yeah, they don't want to
But
be in it.
Toronto do want to be in the Challenge Cup. Be very interesting now to see how the governing body justify, well, we'll let one team in who we want to put a bond on, but we still don't want to let the other one in.
This is where the RFL can't win with Phil's comments. Bolton, he says, it's a nice stadium, but we're putting money away from rugby league by using a football stadium. But if you use the rugby league stadium, of which there aren't actually that many of them,
Well,
people wouldn't mind.
who's got a rugby league stadium that you could use?
Well,
Leeds,
people wouldn't mind that. Well,
Warrington,
everybody just
St
said
Helens,
Bradford.
and Bradford.
Hull KR.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Wakefield.
Well,
Wakefield, Cass. Yeah,
Well,
there's your argument.
You're not
Phil.
putting a triple header semi-final.
There's your
on
argument.
those grounds.
No, you're not. So I think we've got to bite the bullet on that one. With a view being that 30,000 now becomes 60,000
I'm sure
in 10 years.
we still make some money off it, though. It's not as if
Well, if we don't, someone
stadium
will
management company makes money.
Pete Scully, people are wondering why you're not saying anything. Come on, you've got to contribute, son. You can't just sit there.
No, well, you two are debating what you just debate, aren't you? Phil's the intelligent one.
I won't go that far. Triple header.
Oh yeah, I'm all for it.
Including
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
I remember you and I were at a women's final in 1995 at Keighley.
Keighley, yeah.
And it was a fabulous game, but it was
Sensational.
part of a World Cup event.
Oh yeah, I'm all for the women's rugby league. Don't worry about that. And the skill level is sensational, and the commitment and enthusiasm, the purpose, what the show. I don't have an issue with the ladies taking part, and yeah, put them on the big stage. And as far as the double header goes, can't fault it.
Yeah.
Bolton was a success last year. All I'm hoping is that the Championship clubs and League One clubs aren't playing that weekend as well, because it stops all the fans going to that event. And I'm just hoping they're not playing that weekend when it's there, because it's just stopping supporting their team.
So you've introduced the realism part of the programme now, and that's where people get upset, because immediately something's good and then we go, oh, but what about? And they'll go,
A lot of people impressed with Scott wearing his Wakefield shirt.
Even though he says they're not going to make it.
Yeah, actually, I've sent an email, a Gmail, I sent it to her to get it. Said if you don't start talking up Wakey for the top 5, we want the shirt back.
Well, hey, listen, I'm not down with you, but I just feel as though Bruffy's not going to be the total answer. I don't, and I think if you look at the way that Bruffy is at Huddersfield, at times he gets frustrated and he loses a plot and he gets himself sin bin, he gets himself sent off, he gets himself banned from games. So because what Bruffy's got to realise is he is their marquee signing. He's the main man. So I know the noises what Bruffy's making. He's been the best in training.
Bruff with a point to prove.
Yeah, well, listen. You've written to him a few times.
I have, yeah.
So my big question is, hey, listen, I like that Bruffy plays. On his day, he's the best scrum half in Super League, head and shoulders above anybody else. There's no two ways about that. But will he be able to handle the pressure? The pressure's on. And as I say, I don't think Wakefield will make the 5.
I
And
think,
if you want your T-shirt back, you can have your T-shirt back.
and you're not washing it.
Who were in the 5 then? Just new listeners all the time. Who were in the 5?
Warrington's the top.
Yeah,
St Helens,
yeah,
Catalans, Wigan,
yeah.
and my beloved Leeds.
What about your beloved Hull?
I told you where Hull are finishing.
All right, that's your 5. No, go over like that. That's the 5.
Yeah.
That's the
so
5.
is that what we say to Lee Radford on Thursday? So Sky says you're going to finish in the bottom 4. What do you think of that?
Yeah.
So does
Well,
Matt Wilson.
And he'll go, Scully's out.
Very important.
No, but the thing about that is,
He's a good lad, actually.
So does Matt Wilson. Matt Wilson thinks they're finishing 9th. But don't worry about that.
that's written the
I'm going to
whole.
weigh up whether he's got his tooth in or out, because that might just enable me to gauge how hard he's going to hit me.
I think.
Hey, listen, me and Randers are still like that. I wished him Happy New Year and whatever. He sent me a message back. Scully, Happy New Year to you, pal. Look forward to seeing you. So I don't have a problem with that. Don't have an issue.
Do you think Lee Radford gives one
No,
rat
not at all.
No, but what it will do is it'll give the whole Daily Mail 3 days of
Well, yeah.
stories.
Are you on there today? Have you said anything about Hull in your column?
No, I've not mentioned
well,
Hull yet.
no.
So
That's doing some work today.
he must have been bored to death, at work at, what's his name, Peter, what they call him?
Paul Clark.
No.
Yeah, Paul.
No, it was some
James
else.
Smales.
Sorry?
James Smales.
Yeah, Smails, yeah. So he must have been bored today, not copying what I write in my column.
John says Scully couldn't tip a barrow. You know him well, John.
You think Sky would look good in that t-shirt?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. It's coming soon. I can't show people.
Can't show you.
Because I don't want people
Trade
to steal the
secrets.
idea.
Trade secrets.
Because people will be doing these things.
What's happening in the world of...
Andrew's asked a couple of times, and I was reminded of this last night. Matt Chechin, he's not coming, is he? After all that stuff he might come over.
I don't know.
I believe the
Who's this?
issue might be getting a visa for his partner.
Right.
Who's this?
The
Come on,
Australian
get one
referee
now.
Matt Chechin.
Not now.
Oh, right. What do you want
Why do some of
to
these people get into the championship then?
Don't think it's
That's a
them.
serious question. Yeah, but they must bring their partners with them.
Maybe they don't.
What do you want
Quite a lot of
what do you want
people
Aussie referees for?
Because we are short of referees. Phil Bentham's retired.
Has he?
Yeah, is that to
Do
do
you not
with
read
injury?
Forty20?
Injury, yeah.
Magazine.
Yeah,
Is that
possibly.
it? Is that-
Magazine out now,
Is there a
latest edition.
testimonial? Phil
I think
Bentham
we should give a
testimonial.
subscription
Yeah,
away
has
to
he
the
retired,
best
has
tweet,
he?
by the way.
There you go.
A subscription.
Happy to give a subscription away to
I've
the
got an
best
idea
tweet.
about that. We'll do that. We'll do that later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, Phil Bentham has
Well,
retired.
what's the pitch?
He has now become.
Come on.
So
Not
Wakefield.
Headingley now.
So,
Yes,
Well,
apparently he's now a coach of the referees rather than a referee himself. The injury that he suffered at Widnes in
When
his
Hampstead
collision,
clattered him.
he's not recovered from. And likelihood is not going to sufficiently to risk another contact in play.
Oh.
So,
I'm actually quite sad about
yeah.
that. I'm quite
Great
sad
referee,
about that.
great
I like
referee.
Phil. He once came on our show when I worked on the dark side. He came on. He was good value. Really good value.
Oh, he's a good bloke, yeah.
Good
He's
fella.
Oh, Robert,
He's a
was
decent
great
golfer
when he
as well.
came.
Oh, look,
Tim
they
Rowan
are
was
good
great when he
guys.
came.
They are good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see that. We
I think
see
he should be on the front page of the trade press next week.
Yeah, Big Phil.
Yeah.
I'm
Have
good
we-
about
Have we broken another exclusive?
He's a decent golfer as well, Mark. He's Ben, well, he won't be now if he's injured and what have you, but a decent golfer is Ben.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he
He
might
must
have
be
more
better. He
time
must-
to practice.
I'm not being rude. He must be better than you.
Can I ask a question?
You're all
This
better
is
than me, I'm
this
better
is a
than
question for Phil, but not with reference to anything. Does who you put on front of the magazine affect sales much?
Yes, but being a monthly, that's slightly different to being a weekly. We have quite long discussions about what we want our front pages to look like because we're trying to hit an audience outside of the traditional geographical area. The bulk of our subscribers don't come from the north of England. Now, some of those are obviously exiles, but what we want is somebody in King's Cross Station that might see an image that goes, oh, I saw that game on Friday, I might be interested to know a little bit more about it. So yeah, it's safe to say thought goes into who is on your cover. There are certain teams that inevitably sell higher than others, that if fans see their man on the front, they will buy it. But we've had about 5 or 6 different changes of cover and cover philosophy, and I think we're going to do another one for this season. So yeah, it's important. But if you're in the news market on a Monday,
The news people.
their news value is who they've got on their front pages. Whether we like it or not, it is no coincidence that both trade papers and a lot of the national papers targeted one man to interview this week.
It's a shame the word.
Now, whether we
background
agree
is
with
there.
it or not, I don't know, but that is news value.
There you go. I just wanted to ask because people might want to know that.
So that's why we've never had many front cover in 4020 for like, because you want to sell some.
Free dartboard with this issue of 4020.
Or keep the kids away from the fire, scone on the front page.
Thanks.
What they should do is have a swear box in the shop, right, and just put you on the front page, and then they'd make more money. You'd make more money on the swear box, wouldn't you? You would.
Well,
You would.
Yeah, that's-
No, it's not. It's right.
if they ever bring back Great Britain, it gives us an excuse to put you on the cover, doesn't it?
absolutely.
It does.
Well,
With
that's the
your
kind of
new
thing we're
golden
open
cap.
to.
With your golden cap.
We could have you in the stand raising your golden cap to the current generation that can on your
Don't disrespect my golden cap. I've got 46 Great Britain caps. One in
We
one
could have you
house.
juggling.
This
before-
show's got 46 Great Britain caps.
Sorry,
Don't you forget
This
it.
team, sorry, this
Don't
team.
forget it.
This team of 46.
We
Great
could have you
Britain caps.
juggling in the stand.
Or, as the Rugby Football League call it now, we've got 49 international caps, whereas England and Great Britain was totally separate. But if you want, we've got 49 international caps for this team.
Before I read Stephen's question to Scotty, because Stephen asked me this every week and I always forget. You know, we might put. These two don't know this. We've been tapped up to a live show. We might be doing a live show from the chip shop.
Yeah.
We've
We
been
do.
out-
We do
might
actually.
not
We
be
do
doing
actually
it.
need to set a calendar, so we'll work on that this
This-
week.
this
Which
might
chip
be-
shop is it?
Well, I can't reveal it until
Can't
we've got
reveal.
the,
No, we don't.
All,
let
all
anyone else
4
get
of us
it.
have been asked to do
All
it.
Yeah,
four
yeah,
of us.
yeah,
Yeah.
live show,
Yeah.
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 They
Whereabouts?
They said, I'm not sure if there's any budget.
I like the sound of
They
that.
said, I'm not sure if there's any budget. I'm saying,
What do you say? I don't want a budget. I want fish
Yeah.
and chips.
Yeah, just fish.
I think that sounds like a contra deal to me.
oh yeah.
Fish and chips.
We'll give PR to your
Yeah.
fish and chip shop.
Exactly.
We'll eat the fish and chips.
We'll turn up,
Yeah.
we'll work for food. Ask Scoey, will Tom Johnson get a chance to be top try scorer this season? Steve?
Oh, without doubt. Yeah.
Tell us who will.
I said it last week. You know, with sort of the creativity there, you look at Bruff, you look at Miller, and outside Tupu, without doubt, he can finish top of the league. You know, the thing with Johnson is he doesn't want to score the tries by just the kicks coming across the field on the last tackle. The kick it go 90, 80, 70, 60, 50 yards. So, yeah, Johnson will be up there without doubt as one of the top try scorers.
Having seen the highlights of the first half of St Helens against Hull from Saturday, Tommy Lakerton's going to get a lot of chances outside of Kevin Iguana. He might be worth looking at as top try scorer.
Oh, we've looked at the prices. Peter spent £10
£10
on a train to Manchester for a copy of 4020. Don't sell them in Macclesfield. Loyal reader. Subscribe, Peter.
Subscribe, Peter.
Now,
We'll send it to you.
I think
Hold on, can we all be quiet at home, please? Ralph's here.
Oh, is it Ralph? He's had a good day. Is he
Right,
running
right.
the
Yeah,
He's
he's getting out and about now.
He's going to announce
He's getting out and about. He's getting
announce
out
the
and
dates
about.
for the international calendar.
Andy says, why not do a live show in a curry house and we'll all come? Andy, we are aiming, Andy's a big Warrington fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
We are aiming to come a bit nearer you. So we will bear with us, caller.
Andy's the one who doesn't like Sam Tompkins, so you'll be pleased to know, Andy, we're going to try and speak to him at the Super
Are we going to
Bowl
try and go to
Thursday.
Catalans and do a live show there? I'd be up for that.
We might do.
Coventry.
Phil says Scotty will be great in the jungle. Phil, don't encourage him. He wants to go in the jungle. We want him to go in the jungle.
We want him to go when the show's not on.
Yeah, exactly.
Roy says dancing on ice.
No, that's
Can you just imagine him in some
What's
like
your balance like?
Mind you, in fairness, that shirt's tight as like anyway.
what is?
That shirt.
Is it X?
What is it?
Yeah, no, it's not
They
triple.
don't have your size in the shop, what?
Triple X, that's me there. In WWE, see?
Luke Menzies.
That's me making my debut.
I've seen him wrestle twice. He's lost both his matches. It's not going well for himself now.
Yeah, but he's got to lose a few. I
He's
need
got
to get
to
his
lose
name
to
out.
win. Oh, yeah.
Got to lose a few to win a few. You know.
Wins and losses don't matter, though. That's what they always say.
Exactly. What else do you want to talk about in the next hour or so? We're here with you. What I want you to do this week, dear listeners, not only like, share, retweet the link that we've put out on social media, is also subscribe to the podcast because we had a record number of listeners last week. So if you can do that, where is it? iTunes,
iTunes, Podbean,
Everywhere.
Spotify, we're on Spotify,
Everywhere.
yeah.
What
Just
number
says-
are we in Luxembourg?
369 this week.
Is that a new high?
I think we just hover around that. We must have one listener in Luxembourg. If I can find out, if you wait,
If you're
I
our
can
man
find
in
out.
Luxembourg,
Yeah.
or lady, we're not.
We-
We'll do a live show from there.
We do have listeners in random places around the world.
We do. I keep getting tweets from people. So, listen in Australia, listen here, listen there.
Who got there?
Tommy Makinson is 16 to 1 to be top try scorer.
Is he?
That's not bad, is it?
Let's stick him on each way.
Someone who scored a couple of tries yesterday is 66 to 1, but I'm not mentioning his name.
Right,
Not-
who's it?
not
Point
Lennon.
out to me.
That fella.
All right.
Tom Johnston 8 to 1. Well, Makinson at 16 to 1. That sounds good, doesn't it?
Who's the man of steel?
No, didn't we-
Blake Austin's the favourite.
Blake Austin, yeah.
Who apparently was very good on his debut.
Yeah, well, as I said a couple of weeks ago when I read the piece about him in the League Express, he's come in the right attitude, he's come at the right age. Excuse me, he wants to be one of these final pieces in the jigsaw to get Warrington what they want to get, and that's a grand final. And reading the report certainly today, my only little bit concern for Warrington could be if he gets injured, because they're putting all their eggs in one basket from there, they're building everything around him. Really,
Yeah, but that you
really-
can say that about a lot of teams, Gary.
Salford
No,
and now
yeah.
Jackson.
No, but what? Yeah, when you said about Salford from there, but Salford aren't going to get anywhere near the grand final, Phil and Mark. And so, but what I'm saying is, all the onus is going to be on Blake Austin. If anything does happen to him, you know, Patton and Brown, are they going to be able to fill and choose? They're not. So if anything does happen to Austin,
Well, they got to be
Warrington-
fair, they got to the grand final without him. I think it's broken.
No, it's still working.
By the way, was that biscuit nice for it, Gary? I mean, I didn't want one. I don't know if Phil wanted one or Richard wanted one, or you know the listeners at home wanted one. You know, I was just asking if they were nice. You never offered one around.
I'll get ripped in.
I'm getting ripped in.
They'll be taking them out.
Eh?
I'll get ripped in.
We have someone's eye out with that shirt in a minute.
Have you seen a great photo today provided by Phil?
No, I haven't seen it. What is
It's
it?
the Rugby League centenary from 1995, and there's all kinds of great and good people on there, and some other people as well.
Michael Parkinson's on.
I thought that was Michael Parkinson. Big
Michael
Rugby League.
Park, I can remember winning his golf day at Panel Golf Club, 19. 1989, yes, for
So,
the
Did you cheat like you normally do?
for the Taverners.
Did you cheat?
Panel. No, I didn't.
I want to ask you, did you cheat?
No, I
'Cause you
didn't.
normally do.
No, I didn't. I played off handicap of 18 and
Right.
a lovely piece of decant, a nice piece of glass from Michael Park. He's a massive rugby league fan.
Parker Penn.
Great fella. Great fella.
Wakefield fan, I think.
Was he a Wakefield
He was
fan?
on the vice president's list at some point.
Great
So,
fella,
Mitchell
Michael
Harris.
Parkinson. Loves his rugby league. Yeah. Managed to. Remember Michael Stockdale, one of the directors of Leeds at the time. He got me the invite there and. Power Golf Club. I played at Pall Mark. Have you played there? Just on the outskirts of
I
Iga.
just had a bite of
Very
one of them
nice.
things that are quite hard to speak.
So I never saw Scully on Give Us a Clue next to Lionel Blair going up against
What about
Years
that
ago.
thing where you went round somebody's house? Did they ever go take the golden key to Belle Isle?
through the keyhole.
If you put it in door, he got pinched.
We're all on it. Super Mo, Uncle Morris is on there as well. Neil Fox's Tash, Alex Murphy, Sir Rodney Walker Megadome's on there.
Yeah.
And
Tell you what as well, I know. We're trying to. I know Mark's mentioned Robert Elston's name a couple of times, but let's with Robert here and the man himself, Mr. Lindsay hits out at Super League Club. And I mentioned last week with Robert Elston, he's been a puppet realistically from what Maurice Lindsay is saying and getting his voice heard back now with Super League. And I'm pretty intrigued here with a couple of things what Maurice is saying. And
I
so,
think Morris listens to our show, reading this.
well, but also as well, what Maurice has got to realise is from day one since day dot 1895, all the clubs have had a representative from all the clubs, so it's always been clubs' interest. And I say what Maurice is saying here.
Hold on, did Morris send you 20 grand when the Sky take over?
Nothing, didn't get a penny.
Are you a friend of Morris?
No,
No.
no. He was in ending my international career as well, but that's another story. And when he's saying 12 directs is not the answer, they can't sacrifice their own interest to develop the game as a whole. This is a conflict of interest there. Well, to be honest with you, when Morris was in charge of the game, his only self-interest was Wigan Rugby League Club. Wigan Rugby League Club should have been relegated. They breached the salary cap with Stuart Fielding, with Michael Dobson. They should have got 4 or 6 points. And they didn't from there. So realistically, all he's doing is contradicting himself because the game is only self-interest. Wigan could care less about St Helens. St Helens could care less about Warrington. Warrington could care less about Leeds. It's all the self-interest. So if he's trying to get it where all the clubs are going to pull together, under the umbrella say, we've got to do the good for the game, it ain't going to happen. It's never going to happen. And also, he's saying from a point of view where people, well, the directors and the people who are running the game, they've got to let Mr. Elston get on with it. They've got to have an independent body. They've got to have an independent chairman. Well, where are these people going to come from?
I think Mr. Elston should be the independent chairman.
That's what he's been appointed. But unfortunately, Phil, he's been appointed by the head of the clubs who are in the game in Super League. So it's not going to happen because it's all self-interest.
Yeah, I agree
Is
with
it?
that. I
No,
agree
it's not
with
going to
that.
happen.
They did
I know
set
we,
up a board of directors in 1996 when Super League came in. The great Harry Jepson was one.
Yeah.
6 people who directed the sport,
Mm.
and none of whom were deemed to have a club loyalty, even if they came from clubs. They were seen to be statesmen of the sport. I think we could get back to that.
But the problem is,
It's not-
and this is, we didn't get invited last week, Phil. I think you and I, or you, Richard, and I were the only people in the media that didn't get invited. So thanks,
To be
Where was
fair,
that,
thanks
sir?
for that.
Where was that not to
A
sorry?
media briefing
I
with
wouldn't have
Mr.
invited
Elston.
me, to be honest.
Well, a media briefing with Mr. Elston, and we've started asking questions about Mr. Elston. And I think those questions need now to be followed up and asked a little bit more vigorously, because he's giving politician answers to me. I'm hearing people asking him questions and he's not giving straight answers. The Magic Weekend might be going to Barcelona. Great. Why?
How?
What is the benefit for anyone of it going to Barcelona? Who's going to benefit from that? Right, we've got kids playing in the north of England. We've taken it away from there. So I wonder how much money are you getting from going to Liverpool? Quote that figure, let us know what it is. And then say, right, we're going back to north of England in Newcastle, where it's having a positive effect on what's going on there. Because in Liverpool, they've already got 3 teams down the road. Warrington, Widnes and St Helens. They've got enough. They don't need it in Liverpool. I don't see what benefit that is to anybody.
But is it just
So I
a
wanna know
commercial?
what that-
Is it a commercial cash cow for the
Well, if
club?
it's a commercial
Which
cash
it
cow,
is,
why
fine.
isn't it being publicised how much they're getting for it?
And-
And that worries me straight away.
And they need to say we will put it to the highest bidder.
Yeah.
So fans you'll be going where we tell you, because it'll be.
But why go
whoever.
to Barcelona? What is the merit? Unless Barcelona are going to rock up and say we're going to give you £1 million, in which case we're going. I get that, we're going. If it's in Iceland, it's £1 million, we're off. That's where we're going. If it's getting money in. He was asked about reserves. Oh well, that's not on the agenda at the minute. You know, that I'm trying to sort of TV. Have they brought this guy in just to get them a TV deal? Is that all he's there for? Because he's on a hell of a lot of money to do that. You know, and I'm not so sure. You know, he's asked about this. He kicked, oh, that's not my issue. That's the RFL are dealing with. Oh, that's for the clubs to decide. Well, he's in charge of this game. Why is he now not laying down the terms?
The question is he in charge?
Well, that's my point.
Is he
That's
in
my
charge?
point. He's a puppet.
Well,
he's a puppet, in my opinion.
well,
whatever terminology you want to put onto it, is he in charge of the game?
No, he's not.
The simple answer is he's not.
He's got 12 bosses.
Yeah,
who
all want different
who
things.
All want something
correct.
different.
All
And
self-interest.
that's the issue.
Yeah.
That unless you stand above that and start telling people, because this is the plan. And what we've done is, as clubs, we've all signed up to the plan. You've now given me the plan to implement the plan. Now, if I come back to you somewhere down the line and say, this plan doesn't involve you anymore, you've accepted that by asking me to implement the plan.
Yeah.
But we haven't
But
done
that's not going to happen, is it?
Well, it's like you
You know,
mentioned.
a statement, Salford, we're confident they'll get to the start line. You imagine if in the Premier League they go, well, we're hopeful they might
Crystal
turn
Palace
up.
might
They might get there, the lads, and with a bit of luck, they should be all right. No.
I also think he brought in the subject of nines, which again is something that
we're
we've...
going to have 9. Why?
Well, this is
Well,
how I got
not only
wasn't it?
why, but how. You know, where in the season that is too convoluted at the moment are we going to have nines?
Yeah.
How does that link into the fact that we've got a World Cup nines, which is under a different governing body? But then you say, but don't really say to anybody we're having nines because I don't really know if we're having nines. Well, then don't say it.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. It's sound bites. It's sound bites. It's, oh, we're going to Barcelona. Oh, we're going to have 9s. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Right. When's it happening? What's
How
happening?
and why?
There's no follow-up. That's my point. There's not been any follow-up. This guy's been coming in, and for me, he's getting a free ride at the minute. He's been there 7 months now, and I'm not sure. All right, he's tidy. Oh, we brought shot clock in. Great. Yeah, well done.
You'll
done.
be
I'm not being rude.
pleased to know.
Between us, we could have come up with that idea.
On Thursday, at the big media unveiling of the new tournament, we will see the video. We'll be the first to see.
So a week before the season, we'll see the video.
Yeah.
Right. Great.
Yeah, but I've already seen the rugby union people score all those tries on ITV over and over again. And the netball people do that. Just throw the ball like that, and it goes in, and they go, yeah. Although they lost, they didn't win the thing at the weekend.
They beat Australia though.
Did you beat
Always
Australia?
good
Lost
to
to
beat
South
Australia
Africa.
at anything.
It is. But I just want to see now what Miss Elson. I want to see some actions rather than words. You know, and be fair to the RFL, give them credit earlier on for sorting out the cup. We still need to know about Toronto. Yeah or nay? What an official statement about that.
Absolutely.
We want to know about the Great Britain tour. We're still none the wiser about that.
That's
We want to
pathetic,
know what is happening at Keighley, because as I understand it, we're none the wiser on what's happening there. Their season starts in a couple of weeks' time, and we're not sure if a team is even going to be in it or what state they're going to be when they are in it.
Well, I can tell you,
this is
well,
an
the situation at Keighley at the moment is an absolute shambles. It's still an absolute shambles. I'm still waiting to be paid for my role. And, you know, I was on a pay. I was an employee, and I'm in court. I've taken him to court. My court date's on the 15th of March, so which unfortunately he's had to do. Craig Lingard, the coach Nathan Graham, who's there, the physio, and also Paul Royce and the conditioner. They've not been paid for 7 months. It's an absolute shambles. And I say at this moment in time, Keighley are still in special measures. I'm led to believe there's an RFL meeting on Wednesday to decide with the 2 consortiums who have made bids to get the guy who took over from Austria Holdings in Shane Spencer. But this could have been stopped. This could have been sorted out over the last 3 or 4 months with information what the RFL have had. It's an absolute shambles. It's not fair. The people who I feel sorry for is the supporters of Keighley, the sponsors of Keighley who have been there, and I'd say it's them. It's them who've been cheated. It's them who've been lied to, because they're still thinking, and with all the history and heritage what Keighley have got, that they've got a club. At this moment, I can reassure you, they have not got a club who they can support, because the RFL have not taken the decisive action that should have been taken
Are the
months
players
ago.
still training?
Yeah, the players are still training, but they're only training on a week-to-week basis under these special measures. I think there's only 9 players left from last season. The rest of them are trialists, so they're only training under special measures. So from an insurance point of view, and they can't come out of special measures as yet. So you look at preparation before the season. The first game's against Whitehaven. Whitehaven don't even know if they're going to have the first game against Keighley. So you need hopefully.
So that's having a knock-on effect. People are worrying over do we buy a ticket, whatever, or are we going? Or?
Absolutely everywhere. And but just to go back again with the situation when you look at Redact Morris, Lindsay story with the Robert Elston. Since the game came into it 1995, all it has been is self-interest. And we'll be for sure, mate, it will not change. It will not change the self-interest in our sport. It's as simple as that.
Toronto are back in action. Sandy was there. Had a very good time in Hull watching the Toronto Wolfpack game. Good pre-season game despite the loss. Ricky Lettelli. He was awesome. Super excited to see what the new season will bring. Another trip to Hull KR because it's going to play a double header there later in the season.
So you don't have a ground for months, and then you play as many games on as you can.
But not in Belgrade.
But not in Belgrade.
No.
Where again the stadium was deemed not to be to requirement, which could have been decided in advance of all the work that was done to try and get it.
Like that park Toronto played in a couple of
But
years.
Red Star are in fact in the Challenge Cup this week.
But didn't pay $500,000. Steve says, can the boys say hello to my friend Paula for me?
Hello.
It's like Radio 1.
Hello, Paula.
Well, hold on. If it's right Radio 1, where's all the licence fee? Who's hiding that from us?
What, from the Bias Broadcasting Corporation?
Who does Paula support? She a Leeds fan, Wakefield fan, Hull fan. Who do you follow, Paula?
Robert saying the NRL's had their promo out already 2 months before the start of the season.
Well, the NRL haven't, Channel 9 have. So the point that was being made by retweeting that and saying this is 2 months before rather than 2 weeks before, that was done by the broadcaster. So it wasn't meant necessarily at the governing body, it was more at where's our promotion on Sky at the moment.
Also as well, Phil, you know more, listen, again, another situation was becoming a bit of a shambles is the international calendar. What has been announced that they're going to be playing in Papua New Guinea and then playing 2 tests in New Zealand and Tonga in there. They've not even given the dates out, they've not been given venues. Who runs the international calendar? So is it the RFL with the NRL or with the Kiwi Rugby League? Who's sorting this out now?
The RLIF provide dates in the calendar where matches can be played. The governing bodies of the teams involved have to come together and actually host those games. Do all the calculations as to whether they're viable or not.
Hold on, maybe Big Knives might be inviting England and New Zealand to play the Yorkshire Cup next season.
At Odsal.
The home of rugby.
And he can do commentary. That'd be good.
Well, do you know what? I was going to say it last week, but I'm going to say it today. I'm going to say it tonight anyway, and I put it in my column today. You know, I watched a programme about 10 days ago, David Attenborough programme. We know David Attenborough, it's sensational.
You're a fan, aren't you?
A big supporter of rugby league.
Do you know what? And it was about baboons, and it was a big family of baboons, there were about 15 of them. And do you know what? Even though I couldn't understand what the baboons were saying in their language, they had purpose and they had communication. Do you know what? That family of baboons could run the game better than what we have been run. It's as simple as that. They had purpose, they communicated, and they got response. What response do we get? Absolute nothing. Shambles. Absolute shambles.
We should invite Sir David Attenborough to present the Challenge Cup this year. Because of his role in rugby league and getting it on TV.
BBC.
The BBC Two Club League Trophy.
Eddie went to see him and he went, that's a good idea, we'll have some of that.
Snooker and rugby
But
league.
why are we not giving dates and why are we not giving venues? People want to go and watch Great Britain, but they can't do anything.
I think
I'm getting people asking me all the time.
It's monetary, because I think neither governing body has a shekel to rub together. So they need to make sure that the costs and the trouble is they messed up last time out, didn't they, at Denver? They didn't get the money that they were promised in advance, and then the last tranche of money.
Why did they get the money up front?
Well,
or 50% deposit up front?
Well, I think they got their 50% deposit, but I think they needed all of it.
Because
but a new entrepreneur that comes in the game, I think you say to him, before a ball is kicked, you pay everything.
But when you look at all the other sports now, and all the internationals, what they're playing, what are we doing? We're doing absolutely nothing. But again, I know it may have nothing to do with the clubs from this point of view, but the clubs could care less now about the international game, could they? Because it's all self-interest with their own clubs.
The international board, the RLIF, have sanctioned a mid-season international window. So in the Southern Hemisphere...
And who's that against?
Well, no, in the Southern Hemisphere we already know who's playing who.
Yeah.
Over here in the Northern Hemisphere, the RFL didn't mandate the Super League clubs to have that mid-season week. So there is no mid-season week.
So we're like League One in the football. There's an international break, but we'll still be playing.
Exactly. Two things on the international front which are quite significant. One at club level
Go on then.
and one at international level. Word emerging that Justin Holbrook might now be a wanted man by Cronulla because Shane Flanagan has resigned.
Has he quit, has this year?
Yeah, he's not going to go through the process at the end of the month by deciding whether or not he did communicate with Cronulla when he was banned.
So is he banned from the game?
He is now, the only way he could have a job would be over here if we.
Also, he's banned from so the NRL have banned him, I think.
Well, I don't know if they have to now because he's resigned. Whether if he then got offered another job,
He's off to sail.
He'd have to go through it. I don't. But the word coming from Australia is if he wants to resurrect his career, he's going to have to do it in Super League. But Cronulla are now saying that Justin Holbrook, who we had an eye on anyway, who was good while he was at the Roosters, doing some good things at Saints.
Straight swap then.
Contracts up at the end of the year.
Straight swap, Holbrook for Flanagan.
That's what. The word from Australia is that might be being looked at. But the other thing that is quite interesting, I think, from an international perspective, is you're saying what do we do on international basis? Fiji, the NRL have actually shown some expansion desire. The Fijian team that is going to play in the New South Wales Rugby League is now going to be paid for by the Australian government. In the same way that the PNG team plays in the Queensland competition, PNG have got immeasurably better as an international side because more of their domestic players play at a higher level. Same's going to happen in Fiji. But we were talking about pre-season games, what we do with them, what's the best thing we can do with them, why perhaps we need more of them and the season needs to start later to accommodate them. There's going to be at least one game of two NRL teams in Fiji / Pacific for the next 3 years.
You see also
in the same way that the NFL have just announced their 5 international games and they're now going to Mexico, I think.
Well, they've been they go like this year because of the pitch, but they do one game is generally.
But they call them the international matches. So they've got 4 over here. The NRL are taking at least 3 over the next 3 years into Fiji and the Pacific.
But also as well, when you listen to our players, certainly from the World Cup and after the New Zealand series, what's just gone, you listen to the guy who's in charge of it as well with Ralph Rimmer, with Kevin Sinfield. The great thing about it is that the players want the international calendar. The players want to go abroad. The players want the international calendar. So what the hell is wrong with them? What the hell is wrong with the governing body to sort out the calendar? Because this is what brings the television money. This is what brings the sponsors in.
But the other thing is, how do we get a Great Britain side that is representative of 4 nations? Because again, if Great Britain go, it can't just be England by another name. There has to be.
Who's good enough for Wales, Scotland and Ireland?
Regan Grace might get in as well.
Oh, Phil, we're quality wingers.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
We've got quality wingers.
But for it to matter...
He could do a job, but he's not the best we've got.
For that Great Britain jersey to have real resonance, there can't just be England turning...
No, but you can't just pick any. You can't just pick any Welshman, Scotsman, Irishman.
You pick it on merit.
Well, of course you do.
But then I think you say that maybe some of the players that we've seen play for the other nations... does Danny Brough come back if he has a wow of a year and he's Scotland's representative?
Maybe, but don't forget in the old Danny Brough can't play for Scotland again. The way he let Scotland out the World Cup, he can't be considered again.
Scotland, he's playing for Great Britain
in the
as
rugby
Scotland's
union.
representative.
In the rugby union, was it one Scottish player in last time or 2 in the
British Lions?
But it wasn't England, was it? It was representative of.
No, if you go on Great Britain's a Lions class.
Yeah.
Great Britain's class as a
So if
Lions.
there was one Scotland player, even that one Scotland player might not have been of merit compared to a player in England. I don't know.
It's different though, isn't it, in the rugby union, because they play all the friendlies during the week, so you can say, we'll take a few lads there.
Well, maybe that if we're serious about the Great Britain Lions, that's what we need to do, and not just play test matches. They should play the grand final winners maybe, and play some of the fringe players. Let's see what they're good at, whether they're any good or not. If we're going to have a nines on at the same time, a World Nines in Sydney, and Regan Grace is playing for Wales in the World Nines, he should be able to be eligible to play for Great Britain if, say, they were playing, Western Australia in Perth. And then the tour has a midweek game and a test match game. But it's representative of all 4 nations.
But the only way you're going to get that, Phil, is if we replicate the season down under.
Oh, there is that.
That is, it's a million miles. And now the problem you've got is that because Super League aren't going to benefit from the money that goes to the RFL for the international game, they're going to go, well, we might as well earn an extra 100 grand doing what we're doing. You can suit yourself.
And you know as well, having seen some World Cup qualifiers this year, that players tend to put themselves forward when they're going to qualify for a World Cup. And in years that they're not, they don't. So we don't know how good Scotland, Wales and Ireland will be because, again, they don't have enough fixtures and they don't have enough fixtures of meaning. And if they did, and it meant something, and they were released by their clubs because they had to do so under the laws of the game, and if they didn't release them, they would miss the next couple of Super League games, then all of that needs to be taken into account.
It will be, I'll tell you what will be interesting, right? And we can do this. We know for a fact, because the coaches in the national teams have said, younger players were told they weren't allowed to play.
Correct,
they had to report whatever for training, blah blah blah. It'd be interesting. We can get those names. We can even work those names out, who they are, and then we could look at the end of the season and go, well, what impact has it had? Has it meant they've played more first team rugby? Has it been a waste? I got the impression, and again, I watched all 4 teams in the thing, but. Those lads that were playing for Wales and Scotland, they were loving it. They were.
Well, yeah, but the thing about it, Matt, the lads who were told you can't play, for Wales, and we know the 2 players from the club in St Helens, they wanted to play.
Yeah.
They wanted to play. You know, so why are they taking that opportunity away? And then to be told, well, if you do go play them, it might jeopardise your position to be playing first team football week in and week out.
We've seen the guy who came over from New Zealand, I forget the Scottish kid.
James Bell, who's now signed for...
Is he a Fed?
Somewhere.
He's in the Championship. He's got a deal in the Championship, so it was worth him making the effort.
Yeah, exactly.
Play, wasn't it?
So the thing about it, though, Matt, that they want to play in international games. So why are they being stopped?
I know what your answer is, but the next step down this debate is Lachlan Coote is now over playing for St Helens.
Blake Austin wants to play for
Lachlan Coote has played for Scotland in a World Cup. Do you pick him?
Well, you've got to do. He's got to be available. He's available for selection.
And I think if you take him back to the Southern Hemisphere, he's got more reason than anybody to show him that he's still a player. So I would say that your British Lions can have in it anybody who's represented. If they happen to have come from Australia or New Zealand, like James Bell, then if they're in it on merit, they're in it. You would hate that. You wouldn't have Lachlan Coote on a Great Britain shirt.
I don't want to play a costume putting on a Great Britain shirt. Not a chance.
Austin hasn't played for England, he does qualify, but Coote has played for Scotland.
Yeah.
Luke Douglas has played for Scotland in a World Cup. Would you allow him to? I think he has to be selected for British Lions.
Tulson Tollett could be the media manager for England International.
Tulson Tollett.
Mark Flanagan has one message for Rugby League pessimists, says Matthew Shaw of the Rugby League Express. Cheer up. The Salford Red Devils forward believes the game needs talking up more moving forward, he says, reading. Flanagan, along with Toronto forward and friend John Wilkin, have their own podcast in which they try to talk up the game.
I think the word
he believes that more should follow suit. We try to be positive about the game, he said. Oh, thanks, Matt. Oh, wonderful. It has the obstacles, but we try and highlight the stuff the game should be proud of. There's a stigma that rugby league is a northern working class game, and while that is our roots, we should be positive.
So we decided to call our podcast Flat Caps and Whippets.
We need more positivity in the game. We've got to get behind our sport because it's great. We're miserable up north. I'm just reading the whole thing. Mark Teller be suing me. We're miserable up north, aren't we? We whinge about everything. There are opportunities for improvement. At times we aren't marketed well enough, and at times we aren't executed well enough. Sometimes we look to preserve money and have a glass half empty attitude rather than backing ourselves and being proactive.
If it's good, it's good. We'll say it's good.
Exactly.
If it's not good, it needs improving. The only way to improve things is analyse what isn't good enough.
Can I ask Mark Flanagan and John Wilkin how much money they've made from their podcast then? Because obviously, and if they'll be doing their podcast next season.
No, it's not got him. Look, it's easy. Again, it's tokenism. All right, let's stick our fingers. Everything's great. Let's all pretend everything's great.
Exactly.
Right, and nothing will ever change.
Well, do you know what, Mark? Do you know what? Do you know what? Then the publicity what the game's had over the last 6 weeks. If everything were positive, we wouldn't be talking because there ain't been anything positive, would we?
The first thing we spent 10 minutes at the beginning of this programme was congratulating the RFL.
Yeah, correct.
Doing a great deal. We've never shied away from giving credit where it's due. And to give credit where it's due, I was in Mark Flanagan's Coffee Emporium a week ago, and they make a very nice cup of coffee.
There you
My
go.
question to the players is,
But he also plays for a club who, at the moment, the chief executive is saying, well, we hope they get to the start.
Yeah.
How positive would you like me to be about that, Mark?
Yeah. Should we be great about that? No.
the players are the worst at moaning on Twitter about anything anyway. And my question to the players is, have you all joined the union? Have you all joined the union? Have you told your union leader what's wrong? And have you done anything about it? Because it's all right going on Twitter and moaning.
Yeah.
Well, what the morning about now?
Well, too many games, this, that and the other. Well, it's all right saying it on Twitter. You're talking to,
Don't have
an
any
empty
faith
vessel.
in the way the game's run.
Yeah.
That
was
opinion poll.
Oh yes, the anonymous poll.
Yeah.
So
Tom
would
Davis
Mark
has come out
Flanagan
today in the paper
presumably
and
was
said
the
something.
1% that said everything's fine?
So,
I like
have,
that.
have they joined the
No,
union?
it's not. It's just easy.
Because-
It's just that is not a story, is it?
But more than that, you can't just be positive. There's no one in the world. You were talking about the NFL last night, which to somebody like to somebody like me, who is a neutral and doesn't have a team, for both games to go to overtime, for both of them to end in controversy, for the result to be undecided until the very last play, to me, I don't see a negative. You, as experts, are going, the two calls were terrible, should never have. It's where you sit. And if we want to sell the sport to a newer audience, which every business needs to do, then we need to look after the sport. And it's nothing about talking it down or not.
But
Controversy
why?
sells.
But why? Yeah, it does, and it's hit all the news, and it will do. But what action do you want? Not to avoid the controversy, but just take those mistakes out of it.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
you look and
But
improve it,
what-
and you say
exactly.
that's not right.
So
we
you've
need to do this,
You've
or
got
do we
two
do that?
angles on the same end. One is you've got somebody like me who will now stay up for the Super Bowl and pick one of those two teams, which will be Los Angeles, obviously. And you two who can spend a whole day talking amongst aficionados about exactly what was wrong with those two.
Yeah, look, it's one
Which
of them
is
things.
great.
It's one of
Which
them
is
things.
great. That's the double appeal, isn't it?
You should be supporting the Patriots, isn't it? Because what are they, Mark?
They're like Leeds.
They're Leeds.
They always get
Are
to
they?
the final.
I
No,
think,
Tom Brady's
and,
Did they win?
and also as well, they've announced today that there's going to be four these NFL games down in London. They've announced that today, so tickets are out on sale now, and there'll be a sell out in the next 3 or 4
Yeah,
days.
but
maybe?
hey, lads, by the way, anyway, the tickets are bought for Edinburgh. Going on one of these dodgy websites.
The Ashes. Yeah.
It's got a computer. I'll loan you one.
4 times the value. What
So
do
it's
I
an
do?
investment.
What do I do? What do I do?
Was that
Get
the
the weather forecast.
Yeah, there you go.
cheapest ticket for the Super Bowl, I think they said on Sky today, was £2,800.
You it's sold out.
Yeah.
Sold
Just
out.
imagine that they won't can have tickets
Oh, yeah,
outside
yeah.
Wembley. But yeah, my question to the players is, have you all joined the union? Have you told the union leader what you want? Are you actually putting any pressure on the leaders to do something? Or are you just moaning on Twitter and not doing it?
Did the,
'Cause I've got a theory that they're just moaning on Twitter and not
Did the
doing it.
players say, the amount of games we should be playing should be 22, 24? Did they?
One of the
Did they give a
players did,
figure?
didn't they? Who plays
Did they give a figure?
for a team that agreed to join a competition or two
Yeah.
competitions
Yorkshire
where
Cup,
he clearly
yeah.
is not getting paid extra for.
Yeah.
They
Alan
can
says,
withdraw their labour.
Alan says the problem is that the leaders of the game are driving it about as well as the Duke of Edinburgh. Come on, Alan.
Thought it was Brexit.
Alan, come on.
We were mentioning League
That's
One.
a sin bin. That's 10 minutes.
quite.
That's 10 minutes.
Alan, at least we've got a seatbelt on.
Is it Duke of Edinburgh going to present the Challenge Cup this year?
Only if he's Range Rover providing the car.
Can you imagine Scully and Prince Philip having a conversation?
Be a bit one-sided.
Why?
That's
What,
why.
When Prince Philip met the
get a
legend.
word in.
When Prince Philip met the legend.
We mentioned the contribution that Newcastle are making in League One. We mentioned the contribution that Coventry are making in
Yeah.
League One. I'd like to add London Scholars this week,
Go on then.
who played their traditional pre-season
Yes,
friendly
yes,
against
yes,
Wigan
yes.
at the Honourable Artillery Ground, which is the only piece of land within the City of London, like where all the financial institutions are. But we talk about events. It was nothing about who played for Wigan and who won. It was about, if you bought a ticket, you got to listen to Ellery Hamilton. You got Sean Edwards there. You got Adrian Lamb there. What a fantastic event.
Yes.
Now, as a sport, what are we doing getting the names and addresses of all the people that were there? Because there are some serious potential sponsors, some captains of industry, some administrators who will have come through, particularly the student game, which is how that fixture developed. That, again, is a lower level club showing clubs from the top 2 divisions exactly how to market themselves. Brilliant event apparently, and Ellery was outstanding, as he would be. But even just to get him there, well, you know Ellery. You know, if you were I don't know, worked for the Bank of England in London, and somebody sent you a ticket saying for 20 quid you can come and watch a game. A team playing called Wigan, who you probably have heard of, they are actually the champions, but you can sit on a table and tell Ellery how they speak. You'd pay for that.
Well, the fact of the matter is, why isn't Ellery involved in the game? As an ambassador, you know, whatever, you know.
I think he's going to do a bit more. He went to see the Leeds players.
Yeah, I read about that. That's great. You know,
Which is
but
fun,
why is he not?
I think he's got to have a role. You know Ellery better than
Oh, yeah,
anybody.
yeah,
He's got
exactly.
to feel that there's a role for him rather than just can you just turn up and be Ellery. So I think the fact that they said to him there's a dinner and there's all these financiers here and you might get to network with some important people. He probably, and we'll give you 300 quid to speak as well. I reckon that's
well, I would imagine it'd be a lot more than 300 quid.
But you know,
don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It'll be a few more than 300 quid.
No, I didn't say 3. I said a few.
But Ellery, he should be part of the game. He should be part of the game. You know, when you look at the biggest name, when I see Mr. Lindsay's part there, when he goes on about the level of skills and what era does he go back to? He goes back to the 90s and this sort of thing. Well, you go back to the 90s, which obviously is my era, and you look at the big names from there. You know, they should be used in the point of view where they are from an ambassador's point of view, or we should be used as development officers.
You're right. Or,
you know, it's ridiculous how we're not being used.
All of that kind of thing.
Well, that panel's coming out soon. The names will be coming out soon on that. But
hopefully, Ellery might be on that.
you know, so.
Are they going to release the names of the people?
Well, there's no point having them if you don't. They've all need to be legends.
Because obviously, because we didn't get to go speak to them.
You probably didn't say.
Michael, our resident London fan, well, welcome back, Michael. Said the Scullers did well against Wigan.
But it's not about the game, it's
No,
about
it's not.
the event.
It's not.
Exactly.
You look at the corporate, you see
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
full.
exactly.
You know, that's
You
the
know.
club earning some money.
But
out
it's
of
not only full, it's who it's full with.
that. Yes.
People
Correct.
will only go to
Absolutely.
maybe, you know, you say to them, the next big game that you've got here is Wembley. I know it's a bank holiday weekend, but can we stick you down for a ticket in the Olympic Gallery? Excuse me.
I got in trouble this week on Twitter.
Well, again, yeah.
This time I upset West Wales Raiders by comparing them to Theresa May. I thought it was a fair comparison. In fairness, they didn't lose by as many points as she did last week. I'm upset.
Very good.
Yeah, what's happened there?
I know, but that's good, yeah.
What's happened there? Must be the
Clip that
biscuits.
bit out.
Biscuits, yeah, a bit arsehole on Theresa May.
You wouldn't get that on the question of sport.
No,
With
what
Sue.
happened next? Yeah, so upset the West Wales Raiders.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I'm looking forward to speaking to their coach.
I'm looking forward to speaking to any potential sponsor to explain that one.
Yes. Daniel's asked if we've got our press passes yet. No, we've been approved, but they
Yeah.
haven't come
I think
through.
No, I've not got mine
we'll get
yet.
them on Thursday, I think.
I've not got mine. Have you applied for mine yet?
No. And after that,
Well,
I
after
think
that,
I'm gonna
no.
It'd be like last year where we all get them, all take pictures of them, and then told, don't put them pictures of them on the social media. Every single
do-
one.
What's happening on social media?
Alex says we should mention the host cities for the Rugby League World Cup are announced by live stream on Tuesday. It's on the BBC website.
I was at Middlesbrough.
It's a week
the
on
other day,
Tuesday.
and they actually had the
Week on
back,
Tuesday,
back
sorry.
the mid on the screen. I didn't know they'd applied.
You see, also when we look at the World Cup there, from there, is Ellery part of the World Cup? Is it, you know, as we're going
Not
around promoting it? I'll tell you what, you look at him, it looks as though he can still play, don't worry about that. But is Ellery part of this? You know, to get with the sponsors, you know, and speaking to people?
They've got business
Should be
lunches, he will be perfect.
Should be used. There's no two ways about it.
And they've got a
What do we know?
business development group, which again includes companies that don't normally sponsor Rugby League, which is a step forward.
It is. By the way, was it Genghis that tweeted me?
It's probably always Genghis.
When he said, Captain Gibbers, sorry, said that I
We
should
like
ask
Captain
people
Gibbers.
to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
YouTube. Yeah, do
How
that
do you
as well.
do that? How do you do
Go on
that?
YouTube and click
What? Click 4020
subscribe.
live,
If you go to our page,
which is
just go to YouTube, search for 4020,
yeah.
and it comes up. I'll do it myself now, and see what comes up.
Yeah.
You go to, it'll come up with our channel in the corner. In fact, on most of our videos now, at the end, there's a thing to click on, because I did it if I can remember. There you go, 40. We've got 601 subscribers.
Right. We want to get up. So if you watch on YouTube, I've done it at home actually. You can watch it on your telly now.
You can.
Can't you, on YouTube? You can watch it on the
Can you
telly.
hear it on your telly?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so we've got a theme tune now as well on the videos as well. So
A
that's
theme tune.
yeah. It's a
Who
free
sings
one.
it? Who sings
No,
it?
it's free.
Jim Davis. Oh, not
Not
Jim
Jim
Davis.
Davis. It won't be Jim Davis.
Who was the other guy?
Dennis Wharton.
Dennis Wharton.
Yes.
Dennis.
Let's say hello to all our listeners abroad. Romania, Barbados, Sweden, Thailand, Slovakia, Russia, Jersey,
This is like pointless.
Jersey,
I tell you what, I wouldn't mind doing a live show from Barbados.
Bahrain. Oh, I know that our listeners in Bahrain. I know that is. Malta, Portugal, Singapore. Others, I think, are countries where they're not allowed to listen.
Ah.
France,
What about
Bulgaria,
North Korean
Norway. Well, exactly.
correspondent? Is he there?
I'm trying to work on something for that as well. Germany, Hong Kong,
Come on,
Switzerland.
I thought we were going on the road. Let's get out there.
We've got more listeners in Luxembourg than we have in
We
Germany.
could be the next, what is it, the Clarkson
Yeah.
on the road. The four of us go and
Get
visit all our
Amazon,
listeners.
Yeah.
get Amazon to pay for it.
You're going to be, what's he, James May? What's he called? He's the one who always nearly kills himself.
Richard
That's
Hammond.
Richard Hammond.
Richard
Hey,
Hammond,
the,
yeah,
the,
that's
li-
you.
the little kid.
That's you,
Yeah,
that's
that would
Scully.
be me.
No, it's Scully. That's
Scully.
Yeah.
Well, he won't be James May, will
I don't know who James May is.
he? He's the intellectual.
Oh, yeah, well, I asked him who was the one that killed himself.
By the way, have we worked out what vehicle we're going in when we go to Hull yet? We're all travelling together, aren't we? What vehicle
Well, I
Uh,
think we need Prince Philip's
We're awaiting
Diamond
confirmation. Apparently, the homicide police force have requested full details of our itinerary. And until we submit it, we're not allowed to enter the.
Because a mate of mine was asking me yesterday when we were coming over, I said, I don't know the
It
date.
was reported that overlooking the Sir Clive Sullivan Way on the A63, there was
I'm
a,
being
there
serious,
was a
have we got a date?
sniper. There was a sniper on the bridge. Yeah,
I'm
in the
being
radio.
serious. Have we got a date yet when we're going over to
No, well,
Hull?
we had one, but we've had to change it slightly.
No,
so
just to say, mate
we're
of
not
mine
gonna publish
contacted
that.
me yesterday, have we got a date yet?
No, we will do, yeah, because we have actually had people who want to come and watch the show. I mean, why they would want to do that, I've no idea. But yeah, we're going to get out and about. We're going to meet. We're going to.
I think we should do.
Press the
Get out
flash
there,
and
yeah.
all
Let's get ripped in and let them get ripped in. Hull as
that.
well.
Hopefully, get a few free beers, but we'll see. Anyway, we'll see about
Does that mean we're staying over then when we go on the road?
that. Only if you've got a tent. I mean, this show's no budget. You know, we can't even afford decent clothes. How are we going to pay for hotels?
Tent in the middle of the KCOM stadium.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's
There'll be
it.
some hostels about somewhere, won't there?
Andy says we should take the show to a curry house. So, can you imagine how big of a disaster that'll be?
What's that, Rich?
I mean, what's just happened on this show?
Yeah.
No, that's not happening. You still got that 25% pass at the thing, or is it?
At Agra?
Yeah.
15%. Yeah.
15. Let's see if we can negotiate a deal.
Yeah.
Sheila, no. Toby says, are you guys sneaking past security to get into the Super League launch on Thursday? People like us.
So,
Some.
No, that's rubbish. You're talking rubbish there.
what,
Well,
nobody
nobody
likes us.
Chris Chester.
I don't think anyone's allowed to acknowledge we exist in public. You know, it's like it's like the Masons now.
Right.
You get invites if you've got a certain handshake. You get invites to go meet the top people, and if you haven't, then you get meetings to come and meet us.
We could go around wearing big 4020 t-shirts or something.
Yeah,
Getting away with people.
yeah.
Yeah, Andy says go to a curry house in Warrington. Stephen says fish and chips. Daniel says come to Warrington, take it to the King's Head. Everyone wants us to go out and about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it-
We're
is
on
it
to
good?
offers.
Yeah.
We're on to offers.
We
How
talk
much
about.
cheap?
Well,
Well, we're cheap.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, very
definitely cheap.
you haven't seen people know what this programme's broadcast on, don't they? A laptop we've nicked and the old phone that doesn't work. And a broken tripod I bought from a car boot sale.
It's all about opinions.
It is.
I thought that tripod wasn't broke until you actually got it.
Until,
You
yeah,
broke
it was. Yeah, I broke it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's get it right.
Come to York tomorrow with us. Although at least one club thinks it looks fancy, so it's the
Really?
thing tells you about the budget in
Hi-
Rugby League club meetings
Hi,
and
Phil.
apartments.
It's not something you found.
What looks fancy us for?
Oh, well. Toby says, if we're at the League One Championship launch tomorrow, can you ask about the New York City bid? If we get the
Yes, we will ask about that. They've still not heard anything.
Where's the League One launcher?
I think they have.
York. Have they?
I think they've heard something, but it's not definitive
Yeah,
enough.
but that's
as
what
a
they
yes
got an
or
answer,
no.
haven't they? That's what
Keighley
they-
going?
I don't know.
Very good question.
I don't know.
Empty table.
Yeah.
Just the badge, the Cougar.
It'll be you and Craig Lingard sat on the floor on an old rug with your cap on the floor. I mean, I'm
And a
joking.
vi- and a
I can only
violin.
say that because you're here, and I don't mean anything ill about that. But yeah, it's that might be a bit of a begging ball out, getting some cash in to pay the lads.
Captain Jimmers is back on. We talk about marketing. How did a baseball game that's going to be played in June sell out already? London's stadium capacity 66,000 already sold out. More popular than Kabaddi, he says. Oh, a bit harsh, Captain Jimmers. Because it's the first game that's been played here ever.
Did you watch the basketball? Didn't the
I've no interest.
NBA bring
Yeah,
again?
yeah,
They would
yeah,
sell out
yeah.
whatever it is they were
Oh,
playing.
yeah.
No,
Scarcity, I think.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like the old Ashes tickets. When are you gonna? And this is why, if we announced an England Aussie tour, you would sell it out. If you actually marketed it now,
Without
you
doubt.
would sell it out
Of course
before
you
you
would.
even got.
Even
on
if
say,
it
man,
was 2020.
There's people contacting me and asking me, Scotty, you know, when's the dates, where's the venues for this, because we want to go on the tour, you know, but you can't tell them, you can't say no, you know. You can't make it, you couldn't make it up, could you?
More importantly, the 3 dates for when England play Australia over here in 2020, get them out now.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm on about.
Never
Get
mind
it
the
out.
tour.
You sell it out. It'd sell out.
Yeah,
It's
I
sell
agree,
out.
Phil. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. And I think it's one of them. If you aim big enough and get the big enough crowds, you know, it's
Well,
alright.
you'd go to Newcastle for one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Newcastle's got a bit. I said before, I said it to Nigel Wood when we first went to Newcastle, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I said to Nigel, bring an international game here. Absolutely pack out. Friday night or Saturday night, people stay over, book over, it'll sell out. Easily.
Yeah, I agree.
Easily.
I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that.
International Rugby League up there, absolute love it.
And you've got to look at it. Even if it's 20 quid a ticket, 50,000 ticket, that's £1 million quid. That's
It's
a million
that's
quid.
It's a no-brainer.
That's £1 million
It's an
quid.
absolute no-brainer.
Gets 3 million quid for the RFL of that skimp. They should be doing
And
this.
the big venue in London, which you would say, you know, if you can get Arsenal.
Well, I think Spurs would be the one to
Spurs.
go to, wouldn't it? The new ground.
I
They
think.
seem ready for the NFL, etc. So you would imagine they'd be willing, and I think there'd be some willingness there if it helps them pay for their stadium.
And then we get excited because it's a venue we've not been to.
And that's where it possibly is a case where you have tickets that are cheaper because you're appealing to a new audience perhaps. Because I'm sure when Newcastle, as you mentioned, are playing rugby union against Sale at St James's Park, it's not going to be expensive, is it? They're not going to sell tickets at 40 quid a time because they want to get a whole new audience in there.
Yeah.
Likewise, when Saracens play whoever at West Ham. I know we're talking about the national team rather than the club size, but
It's all about getting bums on seats.
Absolutely.
Pound notes in the till.
Paying full value because they want, you know, talk of why does the NBA sell out or whatever, because
Well, at the end of the
you're
day,
not offering cheap tickets.
at
If
the
you want
end-
to go, you've got to get in there at the beginning and buy your ticket.
at the end of the day, the national side sells the product.
It's doing that
Simple
in
as that.
netball.
Sells the product.
It's doing
It does.
Nicholas says the NHL, that's the ice hockey in Canada, stroke USA, and the Players Union want to expand to Europe. They said it's just a matter of time. Also, practical little playing blocks. So there you go. Put a team in Hull. That'll really please Sid. The Hull, whatever they want to be called.
That's how you'll do it, like they do in the Super 15 or whatever it was, the rugby union one, where they have to go. They'll go. If they have 3 teams in the Americas, you'll say right. You're playing them one week, them the other week, them the other. You're going 1 flight in, 1 flight out. You're away for 2 weeks. You'll play 3 games, and that's your travelling done. No morning. You don't have the jet lag going back 3 times. You just go in once, and that's your lot. And they'll do the same coming back. They'll come and play 3 at a time, and then go back. It can be done. It can be. The travel is not. They said that on the thing last night about the NFL. The players don't mind coming to England. They get well looked after.
Yeah.
There's no problem. They quite enjoy coming here, and the travelling is not an issue.
It can be done.
It can be done.
It can
be
done.
done.
What a phrase. Daniels, I assume we think will be Warrington centres. Atkins, King, Goodwin or Mamo. Who will it be? What do you guys think?
Goodwin
Neymar.
and Memo for me.
I think Goodwin and Atkins, to be honest. I think he's got. I'll go back as Ryan. Younger, I think he's the purpose as well. So I think the Atkins is a good win for me.
Okay.
So yeah, I told you last week what I reckon Marmo should play. And come off the bench, stick him up as forward.
Yeah.
Support player, the speed, what he's
Yeah,
got.
we
It
got
calls
we
havoc.
got a lot of response to that. Yeah. Some say we should sack you. Some say we should section you. There's a cross between the two.
I think Neymar gives them something extra, and
It's
again,
not like you say Wakefield finished 4th.
They finished 5th the last 2 years. What's your point? Have they got? All right, they finished 5th the last 2 years. Have they got a better team? Yes or no? Than they had last year. Have they got a better team? Yes or no?
They've only got.
Have they got a better? It's a simple question. Have they got a better team? Yes or no?
Time will tell.
might be on question time.
No, he's Robert Elson.
Glenn says, why don't we come to
Do me a
Toronto?
favour.
Can't afford to go to Toronto.
Can't afford.
No.
Can't
Not with
afford.
Brexit now.
We could go to Hull when Toronto play then.
Yeah, we could do.
Dave says it can be done. Positive hashtag positive RL. We should let the people into the in joke here. When we used to work somewhere else, you remember Radio Yorkshire? Used to be a thing. On the wall, walking up the stairs, was a picture of our Lord and Master Sir Kenneth Bates. Underneath, it can be done. That's what it said. They took that away after a while, but poor old Ken. William says, have we heard anything about Widnes?
What about the takeover? What is that?
Well, there's been an interesting comment from the guy who was looking at made the takeover, and he's called the place a shambles, hasn't he?
I think he also took some criticism on social media for wanting to buy the club.
Don't go on social media, Pete. Just don't do it.
As Richard found out last week, it's quite easy to get criticised.
I was just trying to be funny.
Or maybe that's where you found
Well, yeah. Rugby league and humour doesn't mix up.
Irony doesn't work on
No.
social media.
Would social media really put you off buying a rugby league club if you wanted to buy a rugby league club?
I think if the figures worked out, that would probably be more to the point.
Yeah, the guy from the Backhouse group, the gentleman there just said, to clear things up, the deal has not gone ahead because it was something I can't see working and beyond repair, not because of some idiotic fools who in sick opinion mean what, or really saying what it says from there. And he's just quite clearly saying the place is an absolute shambles, and he's just being honest, realistically, the state what Widnes are in. And he's took plenty of stick for it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I wouldn't want to own a rugby league club. I just think it could be quite stressful for not a lot of reward, really.
I think if they run properly, as Mr. Heritage proved at Leeds when he took over. Leeds were a shambles in 1996 when he took over, £5 million in the rubbish.
That's one positive story.
Smartness, 10
And
year,
I'll tell you what,
program.
the way he looked ill when they got thumped at Cass last year. He looked ill. It looked like it was affecting his life. So it must be a tough job, even when you got.
Oh, we're not saying it's not a tough job.
By the way, Wigan comments in the paper from Sean Edwards saying, "Well, if Adrian Lamb does a good job, where does that leave me? I'm not going to come in and rock the boat. What do we make of that?"
Interesting. I wonder if Sean has asked for some help behind the scenes that hasn't been as forthcoming as perhaps he wanted it to be. Because he's going to want to sign some players when he gets there, unquestionably. He needs to know that, like Warrington have said, we've signed Gareth Woodard for 2020, that Wigan have got the same sort of ambition.
You know, Adrian Lamb, he's only with Wigan for 12 months. Has he got a job going back to NRL?
Not yet. Canola.
So is Lamb not going to be part of Sean Edwards' coach?
Well, this is the thing. I just thought it just seemed a bit of a he didn't need to say it type interview. Why has he said that?
Well, if he wins the treble, how can they sack him?
Is it possible to retire from rugby league coaching before you've taken a job, to take on another job in another sphere?
As we know, in sport, a year is a long time. He might get offered a wow of a job in rugby.
There's a massive job coming up at Twickenham that everyone knows about.
And I think when you in the England setup with the rugby union, certainly for the players who have been under Edwards, i.e. with the Delalios and Will Greenwood and whatever, they say that they respect what Sean has got from a defensive point of view, and they have always said we can't understand why England have never employed Sean Edwards. It's an interesting one.
Wrong accent. He needs to change his accent like Andy Farrell did.
Yeah.
Apart from when he comes back to the rugby league and he sounds more Wigan. Apart from that.
What? Go on then. More social media, 'cause we're running out of time, to be fair. We've flown by again tonight.
Nicholas has done a joke.
Go on.
Darfell needs to do something to make sure Widnes continue to exist. Put them in the Widnes Protection Programme.
Hey!
Very good.
Hey.
Toby's amused by people who still don't understand the Yorkshire Cup naming debate. It was funny to see people trolling the Bradford Bulls on Twitter yesterday. I did enjoy that. That was good.
You're just a bitter man, aren't you?
Because it's not the
What are you
Yorkshire
being
Cup.
like that for?
Now they won their 12th Yorkshire Cup.
No, they won the first one.
Wikipedia.
They've won the first
12th.
one. They've won the first
Well,
one.
I know that, but apparently they won.
Are you back a Bradford Bulls fan now they've won a trophy?
A lot. You know what? I'd say now they'll make the top 5 this year. I'm absolutely adamant about that. They will make the 5 this year. I'm going to say it now, right? They could go up this year. The Bulls.
Have you been on the wine? Same as him?
What if they're in the 5? This could go.
Well, I'll tell you what,
We
then.
saw
I'll tell you what.
Toronto bottle it last year.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll have another curry. I'll have another curry with you, right?
There's no point because you haven't paid for your other one.
I'll have another
You haven't
curry.
paid for your other one.
I'll have another curry with you, right?
Well, when you pay for the other one.
Right. Okay.
Oh, go on. I'm interested in this.
York will finish higher than what Bradford will in the championship. York will finish higher than what Bradford won in the championship.
Yeah. You know, when are you in court again with Keighley? Because I'll
15th
just
of
come
March.
with you and ask them to just send me the money. Is that alright?
Yeah.
You're going to owe me it all anyway. What?
Trish has asked, why does Scully take off his glasses to read?
Because I can't see. I can't read with them on.
Yeah, not reading glasses.
It's
important.
What's this, Vision Express?
Perhaps
Shall
we
we get
should
a
be sponsored
sponsor?
by Specsavers.
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 Are they looking at us for?
Oh no, we won't
I
get
think
that.
we're doing alright on the saving there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not exactly flowing.
I'm sure you've not been on the wine, you've not been on the wine,
Need
son.
to get some sleep.
Well, you know, how many days away from the new season are we? 10 days away now?
10 days.
10
Big
days.
fixture, St Helens Wigan, eh?
Who's going to win that one?
I'm going St Helens by 10.
Well, I think Saints will win it. But a great season opener.
The first 3 games are on Sky, so I'm going St Helens by 10. I'm going Holbrook Rovers by 7. And I'm going Warrington by 22.
We need to get Scottish predictions for the media tipping competition because obviously he doesn't do email.
He's got Gmail now.
Yeah,
He's got
it's
Gmail.
mad.
Yeah. What we're going to do next year is show him how to work it.
We should become the official media partners of the tipping competition and produce the league table on a video every week just to shame our colleagues. But I don't know if they'd
Based
like
on
that.
last year, it'd be shaming
Yeah,
me.
well.
Anyway,
Nicholas, any view on the new Toronto kit? Yeah, it's Hulls.
yeah,
Hulls
you
from last
stole
year.
Hull's kit.
Yeah.
Just setting the
It's just
badge off.
Hulls.
That's all it's done.
What's going on?
It's exactly the same.
And a-
kit.
and a
It's
few in
all the
stock.
way.
Toronto, is it?
Yeah.
They're
Put that whole
away.
left
They're
seat.
away kit.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's like the grey and black.
Just stick a badge on, stick another badge on it, lads. That'll do.
He's sponsored by Canadian Affair, which isn't what he sounds like.
Is it a dating website? Do we need to join?
Well, based on what you just said, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and sex aid.
Yeah.
Hold on. Motley's here. Motley's arrived.
I've got Liam Reynolds.
Can I have some of that wine later?
After the way you performed tonight, you don't need anything.
Why are you on TV? That's why.
Yeah.
Why do people like us? I don't know.
Oh, well. Yeah, well.
Why are we not on the Super?
Subscribe to the old YouTube if you would. And the podcast. Record. We're really proud of that.
So the first 3 games then, who are you going for?
Uh,
Wilson, Saints or Wigan, who are you going for?
Yeah, I've got to go for St Helens. I'm going for Warrington to beat Leeds.
Mhm.
I think it's a bit early. I think Leeds are a work in progress. They'll get there. I think Leeds will win the cup this year. And I think they'll get in the top 5 as well. But I think they'll be building as they go along. New coach, big turnaround.
Yeah.
What about the big derby then? What about the big derby?
Last year.
Yeah. Big derby. I've tipped Hull out to finish above Hull, but
Yeah.
I just think early on if Hull don't have any injuries, I think they might do alright. I think they'll bite when they get injuries. Hull. I think that's when
Doubt
they
over
struggle.
Albert Kelly.
Yeah, possibly. I've got to go Hull out. I've tipped Hull out to finish above Hull, so I'll go for Hull
I'll
out.
tell you what's interesting yesterday in the game. We talk about Jake Connor, don't we, about his discipline, and so he got some big friendlies. After 20 minutes, St Helens scored a try, and it was a bit dubious by all accounts. Anyway, Connor was just looked in at referee and just got so he got simmered in a friendly. So
They never learn, do they, these players? They never learn. 4020 on Facebook, I think I know what this is, says presenters of this show needs to be drug tested.
Yeah. Who's ripping us off
I
on our own show?
think I know who that is, and I think she's just come back from holiday.
Ah.
Stephen says Scotia should be on tipping point. Daniel says get Gary on the chase. Celebrity chase with Gary Schofield.
Yeah, who's chasing him? A pack of lions.
What would be your specialist subject on Celebrity Mastermind?
my specialist subjects would be Leeds Rugby League Club.
Would it?
That would be my specialist subject.
Now we have to actually put this together, don't we? We have to write some questions.
Or
Find
it
a
would
chair.
be literally, or it would be only Fools and Horses. I love only Fools and Horses. I watch even now when I watch, Comedy Channel, 1-1-10, and I watched them for the first hour, and then it
1-1-10. So
Yeah.
you've got 1,110.
yeah, 110 got, and then an hour after, then I put 210 on because it's the same show again. I watch it all the time. Sensational.
Isn't 110 one of those channels that you have to subscribe?
I don't know. Do you know
I
that?
don't know. Because
Premier
they're
Sport.
top end numbers, aren't they?
I know what channel you're on Sky for, where you're going on, isn't it?
Yeah.
Eh?
They think they should be on Bullfight to have a go at Bradford. No, I don't need to have a be on telly to have a go at Bradford.
Let's all do some carpet impressions. Come on then. During the war. Come on.
8 o'clock we're going. Download the
Time to go.
podcast. Thank you for everyone that's joined in tonight.
Daniel says, Gary, specialist subject, how not to pay for a curry.
Hey!
Listen,
That'll do. We've gone.
don't be taking
Time's off,
notice
time's off,
about
that's it.
Wilson. Don't be taking notice
Thanks
about
to everyone
Wilson.
that's joined in. Please subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe to the podcast. Thanks to everyone that's joined us this week. We'll be back next week.
Is that the shot clock?
That was a shot clock, yeah. So it's a penalty against Scoy.